All right, here we go. Live on the radio.
Thank you.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, 4 minutes after 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh my goodness, welcome everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. We got a lot to cover today. I've got a lot to talk about today. There's so much going on with Trump, and it's all great news. I do want to throw one thing out because I was telling Mike, our board op, a little story. Does anyone? This goes way back. I bet you nobody in this audience remembers this person. Mark Scheinbaum. Anybody remember Mark Scheinbaum? Was on the air overnights for a while before me. He was on a bunch of radio. He was fired by every radio station in town at some point because he sucked on the air so much. But does anyone remember Mark Scheinbaum? I might tell that story on the air, Mike, because that's a Mark Scheinbaum. Mark in the dark. Anybody remember him? Because I don't know if no one remembers him. I don't know if the story's worth telling, but maybe I'll tell it anyway. But does anyone remember Mark Scheinbaum? Oh my goodness, pretty bad. I don't know. Is he still alive? I don't know. I haven't heard from him in a long time. Well, before we get into that, though, I'm going to get into the issues of the day. But I do have a call out for any listeners out there that if there's one person that remembers Mark Scheinbaum, give me a call. I'm just curious. Or is he totally forgotten? Oh my goodness. But let's talk about what's going on with Trump and in the news first. This thing with Greenland is a very realistic thing. Trump talking about annexing Greenland and making it part of the United States. This is a very real thing. Don Jr. is going to Greenland today. Greenland, you know, I've learned a lot about Greenland in the last couple of weeks. I never paid much attention to Greenland, and I don't think very many people have paid attention to Greenland. But I'm looking on Wikipedia. There are only 56,583 Greenland. I guess, what are they, Greenlanders? Is that what you call them, Greenlanders? And Greenland, you know, obviously they're I don't know, are they a territory or a colony, but they're under the jurisdiction of Denmark. They're a territory of Denmark. And Denmark made an agreement with Greenland years ago that Greenland could leave Denmark and do whatever they want at any time, so long as they vote on it. So the residents of Greenland can vote on what to do at any particular moment in time, so far as stay with Denmark or leave Denmark. I never really knew who the population of Greenland was because I never thought about it. I never really cared too much about Greenland. Have any of you? But I've been reading up on it since Trump talked about it, and it is a very serious, it's a very realistic thing. And it's not just for the natural resources. Strategically, Greenland is very important between Europe and North America, the Arctic region. It's very important. And expanding and of course, there's a lot of resources there, they keep telling us. And expanding the territory of the United States is a good thing. And I should have looked this up. I don't know. Would we be the largest country land-wise in the world if we took Greenland? Now, another thing I learned about Greenland was this. The population, you know, I want you to think about this now. The population is just over 56,000. And they can leave Denmark at any time with a vote. The average income in Greenland is $30-some thousand a year, about $37,000 a year. There's a lot of money made in Greenland off the resources there, but Denmark takes it. The people of Greenland they say they're Greenland Inuits. Inuits are Eskimos. They don't call Eskimos Eskimos anymore. They call them Inuits, right? So they're Eskimos. We already have a shared people with our Alaska natives, the Eskimos. They're Eskimos in Greenland. But they're also really poor. And the reason this is coming up again today is because this guy in Greenland is in a video that's gone viral online. Have you seen this? I don't know if it's been on television yet. Let me turn this up loud. This is a guy, he's a Greenlander. He's one of their Inuits, one of their Eskimos, one of their Indians, whatever they call them. He's wearing a MAGA hat, just like I'm wearing right now, Make America Great Again. And he's talking to somebody here about Trump. Listen, this is a Greenlander, a native of Greenland, an Indian. He has a beard. It looks kind of like those beards that the Amish have. And he's wearing a Make America Great Again hat.
So, like, if you could tell Trump anything, what would it be?
Buy us.
Okay, he said that? If you could tell Trump one thing, what would it be? Buy us, he says.
So, like, if you could tell Trump anything, what would it be?
Buy us.
Buy Greenland?
Buy Greenland.
Why do you want Trump to buy Greenland?
Because we don't want to be colonized by Danish government anymore. We get ripped every year about our minerals from Greenland. We are the richest nation in the world, and we don't get to use it. Denmark's using us too much.
Do you like America?
I love America, but people are too fat over there.
Okay, so that's amazing. So this is Greenland MAGA. Have you seen this video? It's on my X, if you guys follow me there, Brian Craig Show on X, on Twitter, whatever you call it. And this just dropped yesterday, and this guy said what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks about this from my research. I've been read a lot of articles and things on Greenland in the last couple of weeks, that it's a country that's filled with mineral wealth, but the people of Greenland don't get to enjoy it. Denmark is taking all of it. So all they have to do is vote. And if the majority of the residents of Greenland vote in favor of leaving Denmark and joining the United States, that's it. It's part of America. It'll be a territory like Puerto Rico. And how many of the residents, there's 56,000, just like, let me look at the latest numbers on Wikipedia. Put the number at 56,583. That's from 2022. So let's just say it's up to 57,000. I doubt it's grown that much in 3 years. It's a small population, but let's just say it has. How many of them can't vote because they're children or in a hospital or thing? So how many people in an election in Greenland would Trump have to get to vote in favor of joining the United States? 16 to 18,000. So President Trump needs to convince 18,000 people, which, by the way, is smaller than the crowd at a Trump rally. Think about that. But he has to convince 16 to 18,000 people in Greenland living in poverty, country being ripped off by Denmark constantly, to join the United States. And that's it. And it's done. That doesn't seem too difficult because it's a great deal for them, because what Trump could very well offer them is profit sharing in the riches of Greenland. If you are a native Greenlander, you and your family for the rest of your lives every year will get a certain percentage of all the money generated from Greenland. That could be a lot of money, like the Seminoles here in Florida with the casinos. They could be rich. They may be so rich they leave Greenland to live here in the mainland. I don't know. But it seems like not that difficult of a thing. It is so realistic. 16 to 18,000 people in Greenland is all Trump has to convince, and it's part of America. It's very realistic. And the media are handling this as if it's a joke. And I promise you, Don Jr. isn't just coincidentally going to Greenland. Out of every place on the planet Earth, he's just going to go to Greenland just to hang out? Come on. Come on. It's the first feeler from the Trump administration is Don Jr. going. And I think that'd be pretty cool. Now, if you're a Democrat, if you're a liberal, the idea of the United States expanding is a negative to you. But this sounds absolutely amazing to me, and it's very, very realistic. All right, we're going to take our first break of the day. Got so much to cover. I am going to throw this out. Does anyone remember Mark Scheinbaum? Because I was telling Mike, our board op, a story about Mark Scheinbaum before the show, and I just don't know if anybody remembers Mark. See, this is what I mean. See, he screwed me over once, like 30 years ago, and he's still paying for it. I'm not into revenge or anything, but, when people do me wrong from time to time, even decades later, sometimes I twist the knife a little bit. All right, we're going to take our first break of this Tuesday morning. I'm Brian Craig. It is January 7th. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Shannon on the radio with a quick reminder that if you like music by the Stones, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Four Seasons...
56,500 as of the latest census in 22.
It's all back on the air right here on South Florida's True Oldies Channel.
The fake news tried to tear down Mike Lindell and my pillow, but Mike Lindell stood strong, just like President Trump. This is Brian Craig. It's time to celebrate President Trump's historic victory with My Pillow's Price Buster deals. Save with our promo code KANE at checkout. I sleep on a My Pillow mattress every night, and you can choose from top-rated mattresses, including the revolutionary My Pillow foam mattress with 5 comfort layers for the best sleep ever, and the 2-sided encased coil quilted mattress. It's built for unbeatable comfort and delivered right to your door. The My Pillow mattresses come with a 10-year warranty, a 6-month money-back guarantee, and they're made right here in the United States. There's never been a better time to upgrade your sleep. Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout for huge savings. Celebrate Trump's win and sleep like a patriot.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All right, we're back. Callers on hold, stand by. So let me play this again. So we're talking about, this is very realistic. This is a native resident of Greenland. Okay. And he's wearing a MAGA hat, and this video has went viral yesterday.
So, if you could tell Trump anything, what would it be?
Bios.
Buy Greenland?
Buy Greenland.
Why do you want Trump to buy Greenland?
Because we don't want to be ruled us by Danish government anymore. We get ripped every year about our minerals from Greenland. We are the richest nation in the world, and we don't get to use it that much. Using us too much.
Do you like America?
I love America, but people are too far over there.
I didn't catch that last part with his Greenland accent. But, yeah, so then President Trump posted this on Truth after that video. So President Trump has always seen that video, obviously seen the video. President Trump posted this on Truth Social yesterday. I'm hearing that the people of Greenland are MAGA. My son, Don Jr., and various representatives will be traveling there to visit some of the most magnificent areas and sites. Greenland is an incredible place, and the people will benefit tremendously if and when it becomes a part of our nation. We will protect it and cherish it from a very vicious outside world. Make Greenland great again. Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, it's a very realistic thing. All right, so let's go to the phones. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You mentioned a number of people that he would have to convince. You know what it is? Think about it this way. He did one of his rallies he did in Madison Square Garden. That number is Madison Square Garden.
Oh, there were 56,000 at Madison Square Garden?
No. The actual number of adults and
Oh yeah, the population. The latest census of Greenland says there's 56,500 and some people. A lot of them are children, so they can't vote. Some of them are old and hospice probably too. So I don't know, 16 to 18,000 votes, and Greenland joins us. That's it. How hard would it be for President Trump to convince 18,000 people? Do you want to be rich for the rest of your life? Right? Vote yes. Join America.
I mean, we saw that rally in Madison Square Garden, how crazy they were in Madison Square Garden, and that's 19,500 people.
Yeah, and I'll tell you another thing too. On election night, see, what I'm trying to tell you is this Greenland idea isn't just some joke. President Trump is serious. On election night, he had a big online the number one influencer from Greenland was at Mar-a-Lago with President Trump on election night. The top whoever they are was with him, and by invitation, of course. He's very serious about it.
You know, how much you want to bet that this has been going through Trump's mind even before he got elected the first time?
He mentioned it in the first term, but I guess maybe he has mentioned it. Yeah, that's great.
It would be surprising to me that it had been going through his mind, and then he mentioned it in the first term, and now we're seeing it's like rolling a snowball.
That's right. Now let me ask you: have you ever heard of Mark Scheinbaum? Maybe. You either have or you haven't.
I don't live in Florida.
So that's a no. Okay, that's a no. See what I told you? See, he shouldn't. Yeah, I tell you. All right. Appreciate the call, Mike. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
John from Coral Springs.
Hey, John. What's up?
I remember Mark Scheinbaum.
Oh, you do? You remember Mark Scheinbaum? Describe his. Do you remember his show? Could you describe it in a couple words?
Narcolepsy.
Oh my gosh, Narcolepsy. That's right. That's right. Narcolepsy. What had happened was Al Rantel, who did afternoon drives in Miami for like 20 years, he was driving on the turnpike listening to Mark Scheinbaum in the evening. And not only did he miss his exit, he went about 15 miles past his exit before he realized he missed it. And he said he was hypnotized listening to Mark Scheinbaum. And he called this hypnosis that you fall under listening to his boring radio show, Narcolepsy. Right? Remember Narcolepsy? Yes. Narcolepsy. Yes. You're an old-time listener.
Oh, yeah, I go way back there, way back.
Oh, my goodness. Shocking. All right. Take care. See, there's somebody that remembers you, Mark. Oh, my goodness. Narcolepsy. That was the best. That was the best. I remember when Bob Grant. Any of you guys remember Bob Grant, one of the greats in the history of radio? He was in New York. He was on all the big stations in New York, Bob Grant. And Bob Grant is, Steve knew Bob Grant way back in the 60s, but Howard Stern was like, idolized Bob Grant. And same with Hannity. Okay, Bob Grant is one of the greatest legends in the history of not just of New York radio. He was big. He was like a god in New York, but big everywhere. And Steve was friends with him. And Steve took me out to dinner with him once, and he listened to Mark Scheinbaum on the air, and he said the same thing. He says, how did that no talent find a radio station to put him on the air? Bob Grant just couldn't believe someone with so little talent was actually on the radio. He was in shock, and he was on our radio station, and it was a little embarrassing. But, of course, we didn't hire him. Somebody else did, another no talent. But, so somebody remembers Mark. Okay, so this thing about Greenland, though, it is a very realistic thing. And as the post on True Social from President Trump, Don Jr. is part of an unofficial delegation. And it's not just the natural resources, it's a military strategic thing as well. To control that region at the Arctic, between North America and Europe and at the Arctic, is very strategic militarily. That's another reason we want it. I don't know what type of military presence we have in Greenland. I'd be shocked if we didn't have some type of stations and of some kind in Greenland. But it is a very realistic thing. Now, I will tell you, the Democrats yesterday, did any of you watch Kamala Harris make history yesterday? Kamala Harris was the first woman to certify her defeat for presidency of the United States. But yesterday, it was really almost uneventful, wasn't it? Yeah, you know, the Democrats, and I'm sure this is being widely reported, this part, this is the first time in decades that the Democrats did not object to the certification, not even once, of a Republican. They always do it. None of them did it yesterday. And I watched the whole thing. And the Democrats are all into propaganda, group think, group messaging, and they do this all the time. Okay, they do these things all the time. The most famous and the most recent famous incident is during one of Trump's State of the Unions, where AOC and the other Democrat ladies all wore white. You remember that? Like they were something special. And yesterday, what the Democrats were trying to present is that we support democracy, we support elections, we support the vote. So they were united in not opposing it, with their nose up in the air, thinking they're better than us because Trump didn't do that. It was kind of like they were trying to pull off a big FU to Trump with that, to be crude about it, but it crashed and burned and was an epic fail. So we're going to talk about what's going on with the Democrats and a lot more when we get back from our bottom of the hour break. But we found one listener who remembers Mark Scheinbaum. Oh my goodness. You know, people listen to that show, and this is true. The Mark Scheinbaum show was so terminally bad that people would listen to it just so they could see how bad it was and how bad it would get. That's how bad. I mean, it was, you know, it was like rubbernecking a car accident on the side of I-95. It was kind of like that. The Mark Scheinbaum show. All right, we'll take our break for the bottom of the hour. There's so much to cover. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. Yes, he had a face for radio as well, Mark Scheinbaum. Oh, boy, did he ever. He had a body for radio, too. 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Okay. Where are we going? Yeah, I mean, look at this. The annual income, listen to this. According to the available data, the average annual income in Greenland is $33,000. Wow. $33,000 is the average income in Greenland. That, you know, because Denmark's stealing everything. No, we should take it. Have the vote and take it. Absolutely. Great idea. Oh my goodness. This is hilarious. This is... Oh my goodness. Very funny. Oh my goodness, that is hilarious.
minimum every day of the week. PBKC is also your best bet for OTB action with big races from Oaklawn, Gulfstream, Santa Anita, and more. For more information, go to pbchemicalclub.com.
My name is Dr. Philip Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. Over the years, I've treated thousands and thousands of patients from bursitis, tendonitis, sciatica, stenosis,
Frustrating.
post-surgery, pre-surgery, herniated disc, gout, bone on bone. If you can name the pain, most likely I've treated it over the years. Most of my practice is laser with robotic lasers, or robots, which rotate constantly around the area, where most lasers do not do that. If you want to come out for a free consultation, that's always free and welcome at Upland Chiropractic. I'm here 6 days a week. I personally do all the treatment. You can bring your MRI, you can bring your X-ray, you can bring CAT scans, whatever you have, bring for me to look at it. I would do that free of charge.
Call Dr. Appleton right now for that free consultation. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com.
And you just started your new show, but you're going to be demonetized because an account. It's like the Zionist fee. It's like the, Babylonian Talmudic fee is what it's really become. It's just very obvious that they are worshiping Israel. And
We'll be back shortly, right after this, guys.
Sent to Puerto Plata, St. Thomas, and St. Martin. We set sail March 30th. We have private shore excursions, private cocktail parties, group activities. We're going to go to the shows together and much, much more. Call the Indy Cruise and Travel Depot right now. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. And online at cruisingdepot.com to make your reservation and lock in our private group rate. Nothing comes close to Celebrity Cruises.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 48 years on the air.
All right, we're back. I got a funny email from a listener during the break. Zoran, they said, Mark Scheinbaum, a big bore. He was no Gary Daniels. Oh, my goodness. Now, that's another story, Gary Daniels. That's another guy that tried. Gary Daniels, this guy, before I get back to the news, this guy, I'm getting, I'll tell you what happened, okay? When I came to the radio station yesterday, I wasn't here at the radio station on Friday, and the security code to get in the front door had been changed, which happens periodically. And we were talking yesterday about things that have happened when the locks and stuff are changed at radio stations. And I was telling Mike, our board op this morning, that there was Mark Scheinbaum. Some of you may remember, I did overnights live for quite some time when I was like 20 years old. This was like when I was 20 years old, 19, 20 years old, from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. And I did it Monday through Saturday, 6 days a week, 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Except on Saturdays, they gave me an extra hour till 7 a.m. because the guy that did mornings on Saturdays couldn't be there at 6, so he'd come, so I got an extra hour, remember all that? And when they gave me that show during the week, Mark Scheinbaum was on the air from midnight to 4, and they took an hour away of his show for me, and I did 3 to 6. And it was a little tiny, the old 1400 WFTL, which doesn't exist anymore, and it was a little 1,000-watt radio station. And there, we didn't have, it was a long time ago, so, key key-coded entries like we have here now with combinations was the future. You had to have keys to get in locked doors, and they didn't give anybody keys, but the station was on the air live 24 hours a day. So what happened was there was an intercom. You would get to the door of the radio station, which was in a very dangerous area. I mean, it was like a drug-infested area off of Oakland Park Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. And it was a very dangerous place to be. In fact, my car got stolen while I was on the air at the radio station. Someone stole my car once. They actually, I'm not kidding, from the parking lot of the radio station. But anyway, since the station was on the air live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there was an intercom. You would buzz the intercom, and the board op would pick up, and you say, okay, Brian, I'm here. And the board op would come and let you in the front door. And Mark Scheinbaum was so mad at me that they took an hour of his show away. He was only on midnight to 3, and gave me that 3 to 4 a.m. hour, that he would not let the board op leave the control room to let me in to the radio station. So and he was really nasty with the board op, and he would. I was not able to get into the building until Mark left the building. He would not stand for me being in the building while he was in the building. So I would not be able to enter the building until he left to go to his car. Can you imagine? A bunch of drama queens, right? You know? And I would get into, the top of the hour news. I would get into the building during the top of the hour news. So I didn't have time to set up or anything. And we had so all these years later, that's why I bring him up. And that guy, Gary Daniels, this is another one. I just say this, and I'll get back to the news because there's all kinds of news to talk about. I should save this stuff for Steve because Steve loves all this. We used to call this stuff the radio wars when on-air personalities would go after each other. This guy, Gary Daniels, that the guy mentioned, I'm at the radio. I couldn't believe this. Okay. When I went on the air overnight, it caused a bit of a stir, okay? And a lot of people didn't like it. And the show was, if those of you that remember, I was pretty outrageous on that show. I'm pretty outrageous now, but I was the new kid on the block, okay? And they didn't like the new kid. And I did not know that he was doing this. But Gary Daniels, he was on at noon on our radio station. And I was on at 3 in the morning. He was taping my show. And I'm at the radio station one afternoon for something. I don't remember what it was for. And Gary Daniels is in the office with management with a cassette tape of me that morning on the air trying to get me fired for something I said on the air. I couldn't believe it. And I just stumbled across. This is a cutthroat business, people. It is a cutthroat business. And I remember I said to the guy, I said, who's spending time recording your show and analyzing it? If you're up at 4 a.m. recording me and analyzing what I'm saying, there must be something pretty interesting to listen to. And here we are. That was about the same time I was dealing with that Mark guy. Oh my goodness, those were terrible times. No, they were fun. They were fun. It was kind of like the Hunger Games, right? It was like a fight to the death. Okay, let's get back to the news. Candace Owens is she's an anti-Semite. I mean, she hates Jews, and it's really unfortunate, and because she was really going places, and I don't know where this came from. Maybe she always was anti-Semitic. I don't know. And what's happened with Candace Owens, and I've seen this happen to people that do shows over the years, they get onto something that they really shouldn't be on, okay? And a topic, an issue, or something like this. And there is an audience for anti-Semitism. I mean, she has a global audience, and there's a whole world of Islamics that hate Jews. Look, they're trying to wipe out Israel as we speak. So I guess there's an audience for that, but she hates Jews. That's just it. And it's very obvious when you listen to her and the things she talks about. And it's really unfortunate because it wasn't that long ago, before the shutdown, lockdown periods, she was, do you guys know how she started out? she just did a live stream on the Periscope app, which was on Twitter that doesn't exist anymore. And Mike Cernovich I can't remember who else. It was Mike Cernovich and someone else kind of discovered her on Periscope, and now she became famous and a millionaire. I mean, and before COVID, she started this movement that was a black version of Blexit. Remember Blexit in Europe? Britain exiting the EU. It was called, was it called Blaxit? Something like that. It was a movement where she was leading blacks away from the Democrat Party. And she had a nationwide tour, and I did something I rarely do. She was having an event in South Florida. I think it was in Fort Lauderdale. This was before COVID. And I arranged to have be able to privately meet her with my daughter, because I wanted my daughter to meet Candace Owens. And I never, ever, the only time I've tried, other than this, the only time in the last 20 years that I've tried to go out of my way to meet someone is I've been trying to meet Elon Musk at Mar-a-Lago, and I almost did not too long ago, and then something happened. But I set up a thing where my daughter, I was going to take my daughter, we were going to have a private meeting with Candace Owens. And then the event got canceled because of COVID, and it didn't happen. But, and then, I don't know, a year ago or so, sometime last year, yeah, it was called Blexit, not Blaxit, Blexit, yeah, Black Exit, yeah, Blexit. That sounds better than Blaxit, doesn't it? Blexit, yeah, it was Blexit's what it was called. And then it was either last year or late the year before, she went on this bizarre rant attacking President Trump. And it was so petty. I played it on the air at the time. I'm not going to play it now. But she went on her program annoyed. She was giving advice to President Trump about something with online messaging. He didn't take her advice, or at least didn't give her the response she wanted, and she was so ticked, she ripped him. Then, of course, you guys know she got fired by the Daily Wire, and then she came out of the... But before that, she got fired, she was coming out against Israel in some terrible ways after they were attacked. The anti-Semitism began the show. And now it's becoming a regular thing. If you watch her show, it's a regular thing, and it's really sad, because she was a very important person in our movement. She even went so far a few months ago into the Holocaust denial. She didn't believe the Holocaust happened, as we've been taught, because she said, why would Germany waste the resources and the people to do so? I mean, it was crazy. And once you go into, it's bad enough to be an anti-Semite, which I don't associate with anti-Semites. That's just me, okay? But when you take it a step further into the Holocaust denial, you're done. It's worse than porn. It really is. When you get into the what I'm talking about is being in the mainstream, because you can recover from porn. I don't know. Are there any instances of recovering from Holocaust denial in a public image? But so anyway, she's a well-known anti-Semite. The Babylon Bee, for those that aren't familiar, is an online comedy parody website. It's hilarious, the Babylon Bee. And it's conservative. It's not liberal. It's very conservative. It is hilarious. They put out memes. They make videos, comedy videos. They did one, well, anyway. But they're very funny, and they're very conservative. And they put out a thing on Christmas about Candace Owens. And they have a picture, it's a meme that they put on X, and it's a photograph of Candace Owens looking shocked, and next to her is an image of the birth of Jesus, and the headline says, Candace Owens horrified to learn Christmas was started by the birth of a Jew. Right? That's the headline of the parody article. And that's pretty funny. And, for something to be funny, there has to be a shred of truth to it, or the joke's not funny. So yesterday, Candace Owens, I'm not sure if it was that me. She's been off for a couple of weeks for Christmas and New Year's. So she was back yesterday, And I'm assuming that this clip I'm going to play for you now is a response to the Babylon Bee very funny headline, Candace Owens shocked to learn Christmas, birth of a Jew. Listen to what she says here. It's a quick clip. This is Candace Owens yesterday.
Babylon Bee, it's like the Zionist bee. It's like
the Zionist bee, she says. It's like the Zionist bee.
Babylon Bee, it's like the Zionist bee. It's like the, Babylonian Talmudic bee is what it's.
Wow. The Babylonian Talmudic bee? Meaning the
Babylon Bee, it's like the Zionist bee. It's like the, Babylonian Talmudic bee is what it's really become. It's just very obvious that they are worshiping Israel and that they base their jokes on people who don't worship Israel and Bibi Netanyahu. And people have started to notice that threat.
She's done. And what's going to happen with Candace, and this is a sad thing, because she's been so good over the years, and a great role model, and she was doing so much good, and then she gets involved in this anti-Semitic nonsense, and she's done. I mean, she's done. Okay? And what's happening to her is, obviously she's got people around her who are also anti-Semitic, or she wouldn't be, maybe her husband too. They don't consider themselves anti-Semitic. They think they just have the truth that they're sharing. People like that don't think of themselves in such ways. She's going down a rabbit hole where she is building an audience of anti-Semites. And she does have a large audience, and she has a global audience. And I imagine her global audience, because anti-Semitism is so strong in other parts of the world, is growing and growing all the time. And she's going to continue to go down this anti-Semitic rabbit hole. And eventually, she's going to do something really big and bad that's going to be the end of her publicly. And it's really a terrible thing. And I wonder, is there some type of mental illness going on with her? I've dealt with a lot of people suffering from mental illness through our callers. And I'm not joking, okay? A lot of the lunatics a lot of the people that have called and given me grief over the years are literally mental patients. I didn't know this for a long time. I found that I was in a studio with one of these people on another radio show a few years ago, and when I was sitting next to this person, I realized that they were just completely insane. I felt bad for them. And I realized some of the callers that still call this show today suffer from that. And what I've noticed with people that have mental illnesses that get involved in news and issues, most of them have a single issue that they're obsessed with. Because most of you, if you're a normal person, we're talking about a whole bunch of issues all the time, right? But people that have mental illnesses are focused on one thing, typically, from my experience. And her thing is, she hates Jews. I mean, that's just it. I mean, the thing she said about the Babylon Bee there, I mean, that's just terrible stuff she's saying. And I share this not to put her down. I feel sorry for her. I really do. I feel really sorry for Candace Owens, and that we've lost such a great conservative voice by being the way that she is. But she will go too far at some point. And she will self-cancel herself because what she's doing is so bad. All right, we'll take our last break of the first hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. This is the first break I've not taken on time, really, in the last week and a half, but we'll get back on schedule after this. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Hi folks, Anita Mitchell here. Please join me on Tuesday at 7 p.m. for What's Your Story with Anita Mitchell. Join me this Tuesday at 7 p.m. for What's Your Story with Anita Mitchell. That's on the True Relevance station.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he and no pain.
Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe.
So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the Bus Driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious, crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside, everything homemade, nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now, the Steve Kane Show on the air.
All righty. Welcome back. I'm Brian. You are listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I want to talk about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's. I mean, it's a great offer, and I talk about how great these doorbell cameras are. You know, it's not only because I have one, but I've been telling you that, you know, you get a notification on your phone no matter where you are when there's movement at your door, and you can pick up your phone and see what's going on. Yesterday, I went out, and I got a notification, and I looked, and a truck pulled up, and I had some deliveries coming. They were bringing 2 big boxes. And it was nice to know, because I wasn't there to receive them, but they left them in my driveway, and it was not something you would want to leave out in your driveway. So I went home and got them, and I knew because of the doorbell camera. This is an amazing offer. Sloman's is going to give you a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Sloman's Shield. Sloman's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for the doors and windows, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery, plus a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call. Here's the number, 1-833-283-5050. 1-833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050. All right, so I saw this story this morning in the Washington Examiner, and it says the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division is poised to fight woke agenda under the Trump administration. This is amazing, because a lot of people would assume that Trump was going to just close down the Civil Rights Division. We're not opposed to civil rights. You know, this comes to a shock to many people in this country of all colors and genders, okay, and everything else. The civil rights that we have in this country of equality that are enjoyed by women and blacks were all given to you by white men. Did you know that? You probably don't think about it that way. That's right. Constitutional amendment to give women the vote. Who voted for that? Men! Women couldn't vote yet. Men voted to give women the vote. If it weren't for men voting to give women the vote, women would not have gotten the vote in 1920. The Civil Rights Acts that led to the ending of Democrat Jim Crow, segregation and all of that. It was white people in Congress passed that legislation. That's right. You know, I don't want to take anything away from Martin Luther King and civil rights leaders like, you know, and people that sacrificed like John Lewis and Rosa Parks and many others. And they brought publicity and attention to these unjust things, but they weren't in power to make them happen. It was whites, mostly white men, that were in power to pass this legislation. And that is true. So this woke agenda, and the reason I bring that up is because it's important to understand that for what's going on here. So here's the headline in the Washington Examiner today. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division poised to fight woke agenda under Trump administration. Well, the woke agenda is racist and sexist. This DEI, which is the new phrase for affirmative action, it's like climate change used to be global warming. They changed it to climate change. They changed affirmative action to DEI, thinking it would be more accepted. It discriminates against men and white people. You know, this critical race theory that the woke agenda is all about at the Justice Department Civil Rights Division says that white people are born racist. Think about that craziness. That means a little baby just born, newborn baby in the hospital is a racist if they're white by that definition. So what the Civil Rights Division has become in this woke thing is hating white men. There's, I'm not playing this on the air because of the profanity, and I didn't really feel like it was worth going through and putting the bleeps in, but I'll just tell you about it. I played this on my podcast last night, so you know, but and it's all over X, but I didn't feel it was worthy of my time to put the bleeps in to play it on the radio. John Cryer on with Bill Maher this week on Bill Maher's show. John Cryer is an actor. I know he was in that 2.5 Men show that Charlie Sheen was in. I've never watched an episode of that. I know him. He was in Pretty in Pink. He was Molly Ringwald's friend in Pretty in Pink. And he played, didn't he play Lex Luthor in was it not Smallville? He played Lex Luthor in, was it Supergirl? And one of the Superman, Supergirl things, he was Lex Luthor. But I really know him from Pretty in Pink, John Cryer. And I got no beef with John Cryer, but, you know. So he does this interview with Bill Maher on Bill Maher's show where Bill Maher sits around smoking weed, not the HBO show. The one where Bill Maher drinks whiskey and smokes weed while he's interviewing famous people. And they're talking about woke and everything else. And John Cryer says, they were talking about why Kamala lost. And John Cryer says that Kamala lost because conservatives hate transgender people and hate black women. And that's circulating all over the place. And people are giving John Cryer a hard time right now. And a lot of the people giving John Cryer a hard time don't even know who he is. I mean, he's not famous. He's very wealthy. From I understand, he is worth tens of millions of dollars from 2.5 Men. That was like one of the last waves of syndication residuals for actors. So he's loaded. But he's basically an out-of-work actor now. That show's over, isn't it? Been over for years. And Hollywood is run by black women now. And what he did was a shout out when he did this interview, and John Cryer says, conservatives hate black women and transgendered people. He was trying to go viral with that, doing a shout out. So one of these black women that run Hollywood now will hire him because he's out of work. It's really a sad thing. You watch television shows and television commercials. You'll see what I'm talking about, and what woke has become is racist, discrimination, segregation, everything that civil rights is supposed to be about. Woke is the opposite of it. It discriminates against people based on every factor, religion. Look, they got Catholic grandmother in prison for praying in front of an abortion clinic, as an example. A transgender biological male rapes a girl in the high school bathroom. The father goes to the school board about it because his daughter got raped by a transgender in the girls' room at the high school. The father gets beaten up by the cops and arrested. You understand what I mean? So the Civil Rights Division staying in place to fight woke, that is a great idea. Like all the ideas President Trump has. It has to be done because they have brainwashed this, and it's all because of Obama. This Obama generation has brainwashed young people to hate Christians, hate white people, and hate men, and heterosexuals. Yeah, John Cryer, he played Ducky in Pretty in Pink, and he's the kind of man even though it was the 80s. And Pretty in Pink holds up, by the way. I watched it not long ago with my wife. That's the kind of man that they want us all to be. There is a new show, a new movie, that is, on Netflix. I know I canceled Netflix, but I got it back for Squid Game 2, guys, okay? It's the one, I forgot what it's called, but it's the one where the guy's a TSA agent, Jason Bateman's in it. And the main character is this guy, and some terrorists are getting him to put a bomb through the TSA screening, and he's talking to his fiance, and he's thinking about leaving his job, and throughout the movie, his fiance keeps saying to him, I just want you to be happy. Will this make you happy? She's the man and he's the woman through the movie, okay? So, you know, that's Ducky from Pretty in Pink. That's how they think men are now. This woke agenda is sick. It not only does it have to be stopped, but the generation of young people that have been brainwashed by it, I hate to use this term, but they have to be properly and re-educated because they're bigots. They're like Edward R. Norton in American History X in reverse. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. We'll take our break for the top and be right back.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and Heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group.
The Across the Universes thing, the Trouble in the Universes.
Yeah, the multiverse.
The multiverse. He went
to the Smallville one. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was funny.
So yeah, he did. Technically, he was involved. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Today is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025, and right now it's 54 degrees outside. As we go throughout the day, though, temperatures are going to reach as high as 70 degrees with clear conditions to start the day, then with partly cloudy conditions throughout the rest of the day. So make sure you stay warm, stay hydrated, and have a wonderful start to your Tuesday.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
That's up in Boynton Beach, an off-ramp, right shoulder's blocked with a crash 95 northbound to Woolbright Road. Up the speed on the turnpike north and south through Jupiter, Palm Beach, West Palm, and Lake Worth. Palm Beach Gardens construction on the Beeline Highway from west Blue Heron Boulevard to North Lake Boulevard. And construction in Lake Worth, Hypoluxa Road from Lyons Road to Smith Farm Boulevard. That's traffic. I'm Dory Don.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's showtime in the paddock. Check out the exciting 2025 lineup with fabulous dinner shows like Start Me Up, tribute to the Rolling Stones on January 10th, memories of Elvis Valentine's Day, Splish Splash, the music of Bobby Darin, comedian Patrick Warburton, and more. The paddock is your best bet for OTB action and Sunday football playoffs with wing and drink specials and over 140 HD TVs and big screens. For tickets and info, go to ppkennelclub.com.
Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire in Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445.
Trickle-down economics, stupid, is called capitalism, right?
On the air since 1977.
I'll explain that
It's the Steve
in a little
Kane
bit.
Show with Brian Craig.
All right, hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I was watching this stupid idiot in my live stream chat room on YouTube during the break. You know, they're talking about Carter because, you know, Carter's lying in state. You know, I was watching this. There's a live feed of Carter lying in state at the Carter Center. And I saw that feed early this morning, and there was no one there because it was like 3 a.m. But he's being guarded by military people, right? They have an honor guard of every branch of the service are there guarding it because he was president. But I rewound it, because it's a live feed. You can rewind the live feed online. And I went back to look at the people that were going by the casket. And the last time I did that, and I watched it for quite a while because I wanted to see the reaction, and the the last time I watched that with a president, I guess, when did Ford die? I don't pay attention to Ford, but the last time I saw something like this was when President Reagan died. And it's a very different thing. When the people were walking by the casket, there was no emotion. They just wanted to say, oh, a dead president, let me walk by the casket. When President Reagan passed away, it was an emotional experience for the people that lined up to see him. In fact, he was lying at the Reagan Library in California, which I'm going to go to. One of these trips I take to California to see my daughter, I'm going to go see that Reagan Library. They have his Air Force One there and everything. It's really cool. But that line went on for days, and in liberal California, and people were very emotional, crying, walking by the casket with President Reagan. With Jimmy Carter, no one seems to care. It's really kind of sad, really. Guy was president of the United States, and people are just going by, oh, a dead president, okay. You know, they don't really, it's really a sad thing. But anyway, this idiot in my chat room, during the commercial break, we were talking about Reagan and Carter, and he said, who wants trickle-down economics? Trickle-down economics it's called capitalism, right? So I've got money in my pocket. This is trickle-down economics, okay? I've got money in my pocket. When I get off the air, I'm going to go and get something to eat. I'm taking the money and I'm giving it to the restaurant. That my money has just trickled down to them. They're going to take that money and pay their rent or their workers. It's trickled down again. Trickle-down economics. Liberals are so stupid. They have all these talk. Who wants trickle-down economics? It's capitalism. You work for someone. The owner of the company you work for, they have clients or customers that pay them, and then they pay you. The money is trickled down to you. It's trickle-down economics is another word for capitalism. It's not funny. Liberals are stupid with their talking points. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. I was reading a disturbing article in the New York Post this morning. Really is upsetting to me. Mayor Rudy Giuliani, held in contempt of court for trying to run out the clock on a $148 million settlement owed to Georgia officials. Rudy Giuliani was held in contempt on Monday, accused of trying to run out the clock to avoid paying his $148 million defamation verdict, which now may cost him his $3.5 million Florida condo. And this was an order from a federal court judge in Manhattan. Okay. I don't know, because this is like a federal civil verdict. I don't know if the president has the authority, like with a pardon, to vacate that verdict. I don't know. But I got to tell you, this one just personally ticks me off every time I read these stories. Now, the reason a lot of successful people live in Florida are business people. There's a couple reasons. One, we don't have a state income tax. So a lot of celebrities and wealthy business people live in Florida because we don't have a state income tax. They live here however many days they have to avoid the taxes in New York or California. But also, your homes are protected. In other states, they're not. So when you have these kind of settlements like this, they can't take your home like they can in other states. So I don't know if they can take away his home, his condo. I saw Mayor Giuliani in the local news. I don't know if this made the national news. I saw this in one of the local newspapers. It might have been the Palm Beach Post, but it was one of the local newspapers. Mayor Giuliani, or it might have been one of the local television stations. I can't remember that I read online. But anyway, Mayor Giuliani showed up to vote in his convertible Mercedes, and the judge is trying to take his car away from him. And I've told you guys this so many times. Mayor Giuliani is an American war hero. He is, on September 11th, there's a handful of people who, above and beyond, did very heroic things, right? All those people on Flight 93 that brought the plane down in Pennsylvania and stopped it from going to Washington and hitting the Capitol or the White House. The firefighters and police officers that went into the buildings that everyone else was running out of. and Mayor Giuliani, who you know, and I know Biden's giving medals to Nazis and I mean, you know how many people's lives have been destroyed by Hillary Clinton? Women that were sexually assaulted by her husband had their lives destroyed because of her. I mean, you know, they're giving medals to these people. You know, I mean, Mayor Giuliani, I know it wasn't in the military at the time, but they should have given him a special Congressional Medal of Honor. You know, on 9/11, the entire government of the United States was in hiding, except for Mayor Giuliani. The House and the Senate were in session on 9/11. They were all in D.C. They were flown to military bases and put in hiding on military bases. Dick Cheney and the White House staff were in the nuclear bunker underneath the White House. And George W. Bush was at that mountain where NORAD is out west, hiding in the nuclear bunker out there. And Giuliani, we didn't know the attack was over. We didn't know that they didn't have more planes coming to New York. We didn't know what was going on. And out of everyone and I know he's a local guy, you know, but Mayor of New York is bigger than being the governor of most states. You know, it's bigger than being a congressman in many instances. He was the only person in the United States government. I understand it's municipal, but you know what? Mayor of New York's a big deal. He was the only government official who was not in hiding, who was out there doing his job and taking the lead, and against advice, because there was a command center in another part of New York that they put in place after the first Trade Center attack, and they wanted him to go there, and Mayor Giuliani said no, he didn't have to do that. That he was risking his life big time because we didn't know it was over. And even though the attack was done at that point, the collapse of the buildings could have, you know. And for a guy that is the Audie Murphy Sergeant York of the War on Terror, and that is not an exaggeration, okay? For Mayor Giuliani to be treated like he's being treated is disgusting. It's just disgusting. Now, again, I don't know what authority the President or Justice Department have on a federal civil judgment like this. They may have no recourse at all. If they do, I would hope they would wipe it out. But the MAGA or movement, we should just raise the $148 million as our national movement and pay this off for this great American, Mayor Giuliani. You know, this guy, and he's an older guy now. And even before he was mayor, when he was a federal prosecutor, not only did he take on the mob, he took on like the old school big time New York mafia at great personal risk when he was a prosecutor. In fact, what he did going up against the mob in New York, Mayor Giuliani, was such a big deal and so risky. That's how we ended up as a Republican being the mayor of New York City, because he was so tough against the mob. And then what he did to New York. Now, I was watching some live streamers on New Year's Eve walking through the streets of New York. What a dump! Do they even use trash cans anymore in New York? They throw everything on the street. When Mayor Giuliani became mayor, before 9/11, when he became mayor, after that Dinkins era, you know, if you had ever, I know, listen, I've only been to New York as a tourist. I know we got a lot of New York. This is Florida, all right? 3/4 of the population are from New York. But before Giuliani, New York was terrifying, man. It was terrifying, and it was a dump. I couldn't believe. All my life, I wanted to go to Times Square. I went to Times Square. I was terrified. I thought I was going to get killed. And it was disgusting. They had all the porno things and everything going on around there, the porno stores and everything. And Mayor Giuliani came in and turned Times Square into Disney World. And he cleaned up the crime. That was very dangerous. He did that stop and frisk, got the guns off the street. And, you know, so there was, you know how dangerous New York is now? It was more dangerous before Giuliani was mayor. It's dangerous now, but it was more dangerous then, and it was a dump. So he cleaned up the city, trash-wise, turned Times Square into Disney World, cleaned up the crime, and then 9/11 happened, and he took charge. And he was celebrated as no American has been celebrated since Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin came back from the moon. There was like a year long of parades for Giuliani. And now they disrespect him and treat him like this. This is disgusting. You know, if you were to put together a list of the greatest, I don't know, living Americans, like the top 5 greatest living Americans, Giuliani would be right there after. It'd be Trump and Giuliani. And that is not an exaggeration. And I think most of you agree with that. And for them to treat Mayor Giuliani like this is an embarrassment. And it's disgusting. And really, it has to stop. And I don't know what Pam Bondi as Attorney General can do. I know she knows him because he's lived down here in Florida for so long. But if Pam Bondi as Attorney General has the ability to wipe out this verdict, or maybe these big MAGA people could raise if they can't raise the 148 and pay this off and don't have him lose his home or lose his car. Giuliani said the other day he couldn't afford to buy groceries. Do you see that? Sick. That's how liberals are. They're terrible people, Democrats. All right, let's take our first break of this hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. We'll be right back.
Sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott Shannon with a subtle reminder that I'm back on the air this morning right after 10 a.m. with more of your favorite oldies on South Florida's True Oldies channel. Sloan's and their free home security system and free doorbell camera with professional installation offer is here. Yep, finally some great news. How would you like a free doorbell camera? You get a doorbell camera, you get a doorbell camera, and you can get a doorbell camera. The first 40 True Oldies listeners who call 833-283-5050 will get this limited time offer of a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your smartphone with installation of your Sloan Shield. And that's not all. Sloan's will give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're going to get an LED touchscreen pad, 10 contacts, backup battery, and service plan. Plus, if you're one of the first 40 True Oldies listeners to call 833-283-5050, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with installation of your Sloan Shield. Keep your family safe. Call 833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050.
Wow.
I did until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, and burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642.
When you need lab work, don't waste hours and hours waiting at the doctor's office for those big labs. Go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest you'll find anywhere. No appointment, doctor's order, or prescription is needed, and you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. They offer every lab and blood work your doctor can order. They even have drug testing and STD testing. Take control of your health care and visit any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. There's lots of any lab test nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Hey, my True Oldies listeners, John Tesh here with some intelligence for your retirement this time. When you're looking for a retirement advisor, you know trust and experience are two big qualities to look for. And as it turns out, my friend Jupiter Joe Thomas possesses both of these. families. Whether you're in retirement or looking to retire, I want you to give local expert Joe Thomas a call. Here's the number, 561-743-0999. Or, even simpler, you can go to Jupiter.
If you're on hold, hang in there.
Mention my name, John Tesh. You'll receive a free copy of Joe's book, Retirement Know-It-All. Great book. Call 561-743-0999. Or remember, go to JupiterJoe.com. That's JupiterJoe.com.
The fake news tried to tear down Mike Lindell and my pillow, but Mike Lindell stood strong, just like President Trump. This is Brian Craig. It's time to celebrate President Trump's historic victory with My Pillow's Price Buster deals. Save with our promo code KANE at checkout. I sleep on a My Pillow mattress every night, and you can choose from top-rated mattresses, including the revolutionary My Pillow foam mattress with 5 comfort layers for the best sleep ever, and the 2-sided encased coil quilted mattress. It's built for unbeatable comfort and delivered right to your door.
I'm going to go to the phones when we get back.
10-year warranty, a 6-month money-back guarantee, and they're made right here in the United States. There's never been a better time to...
It's too much money for it's $148 million. We need, you know, one of these big MAGA multi-millionaire people to organize something that big.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen to the Pages on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True Oldie.
All righty, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Call us on hold, stand by. I want to remind you guys, Inauguration Day is, well, 2 weeks from yesterday, and you are all invited on Monday, January 20th, to join Steve Kane and me, Brian Craig, at Wings Plus, the Sample Road location, to enjoy together on the TV screens, the massive TV screens at Wings Plus, the final inauguration of President Trump. This is really historic. We're not going to see him sworn in ever again. And you're all invited. We went there for his first inauguration, and we're going to be there for his second and last inauguration. You're all invited. The inauguration is at noon. It's on Monday the 20th. I recommend getting there around 11. You can get there earlier if you want, but get there by 11. And Steve Kane and I will both be there. And Wings Plus is located in Coral Springs, about a mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road. There's 2 Wings Plus locations. This is the Sample Road location that we are going to be at, okay? And you're all invited. It's going to be a great time. And I've been hearing from a lot of people that are going, so it's going to be great. It's going to be a MAGA time. Wings Plus is the one restaurant you can wear your MAGA gear with pride and don't have to worry, okay? So wear your MAGA gear. I'll be wearing mine. All right, let's go to our phones, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. Thank you for taking the call. Full disclosure, I'm a lifelong Democrat, and I listen to your show from time to time, and, I consider myself a somewhat reasonable and fair person, and I just listened to your comments sometime previously before you went off air. You said how liberals are horrible people, and I'm a little put off by that because I have Republican friends, so I would never say all Republicans are bad people. You were talking about Giuliani earlier, and you went through a list of all the things he did well, which I totally agree with. He cleaned up the mob in New York. He was a great mayor during 9/11. But I just had a question. In your eyes, or your opinion, did he do anything wrong? You mentioned that the MAGA camp should probably collectively pay the $140 million, but just your opinion, or
I don't know what you mean. What did he? No, what did he do wrong? What did he do criminal?
Well, so why do you think the $148 million should be paid if you don't think he did anything wrong?
Because they're basically taking the clothes off his back. They're trying to take he's elderly now. Okay? He's broke. They have bankrupted him, and well, you asked the question. Do you want the answer, or you just want to continue? Was that question rhetorical? It wasn't meant to have an answer.
No, go ahead.
Okay. My first hope would be, and I don't even know if this is possible, that President Trump and Pam Bondi as Attorney General could do something to wipe out this federal judgment. I don't know if that's possible. If it's not possible, I would like to see these big-time MAGA people do a massive fundraiser and pay this off so that this great American hero doesn't live the rest of his life in poverty. They're treating him like OJ. OJ got away with killing 2 people, and he got a judgment against him, which stopped him from being able to make money. And not only are they doing that to Rudy Giuliani, they're taking away this elderly man's, trying to take his car. They're trying to make him homeless, this great American hero. And I'm disgusted by that. Aren't you?
I am in some ways disgusted by it, but what I'm saying is, do you not agree that what he did was wrong? I mean, that's ours.
What did he do? What did he do that was wrong? I don't know what you're talking about.
Judgment. Why was the judgment awarded?
Well, because judgments are often political. As an example, this E. Jean Carroll judgment against President Trump is absurd. You know, federal judges are political. Oftentimes, they're appointed by Democrats. They become activists, and they help Democrats, like this Judge Mershon in New York. Just because a judge rules in a certain way doesn't mean it's not political. Democrat judges are very corrupt these days. We see it happening to Trump all the time.
I mean, let's be honest. The whole.
But you told me you're a Democrat. What makes you a Democrat? Why are you a Democrat and not a MAGA supporter? Why are you a Democrat?
Okay, here's my reason why I'm a Democrat, and I've always been a lifelong Democrat. I don't so much look at who's the person running for office. I look at the party who's willing to help people. And what I mean by that is, during the COVID, it was the Democrats that said, hey, let's give the people $1,000 a month until we get this thing figured out. It was the Republicans that voted against it.
Listen, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Slow down. No. I mean, I don't have. We're on a time crunch here. Coming up on the bottom of the hour. You got to talk a little more encapsulated. The earned income tax credit. That's great. You give tax money to people that didn't pay taxes. The credit you give, that's welfare. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned this on the air. My accountant called me, and they had made a mistake, and I had to come up with a bunch of money to pay my payroll taxes. Right? I didn't know earned income tax. Democrats were trying to get the Trump tax cuts. They wanted them to expire. They're against. President Trump has already drafted up the bill for the no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on overtime. Democrats oppose that, and they're going to oppose it when it's up for a vote. Earned income tax credit is welfare. The money during COVID, I didn't miss a day of work during COVID. I worked every single day during COVID. Okay, I didn't get any welfare from the government. So you giving people welfare is why you're a how many babies have not been born because of the Democrats supporting abortion?
Here's the thing, you calling it welfare. Can you tell your listeners, and can you tell me who pays Congress salary? Who pays the
people like us that pay tax? People like me that pay taxes. People who pay taxes.
Welfare. Would you call that welfare?
No, they work.
You can choose. You pick and choose.
No, they do a job and are paid a salary, which Donald Trump donates his presidential salary. That's different. When you give tax money to people who are not paying taxes, okay, that's welfare. I didn't get any money from the government during COVID. I didn't get $2,000 a month during COVID.
Name another entity within the United States where you pay your employers and they tell you what to do.
What?
Only the government. We pay the government, but yet they tell us what to do.
We have elections, and we elect representatives to represent us in government. We have a representative democracy. It's a republic and a representative democracy. You don't even understand. So you're telling me you're a lifelong Democrat because during COVID they gave out some money to people that don't pay taxes that didn't work?
It's that look, the party that's willing to help the people. That's what the government is.
What about the Democrat? The Democrat. Listen, the Democrat. Excuse me. The Democrat Party is responsible for the death of Lincoln Riley in Georgia. Do you know who that is?
The death of Lincoln Riley?
Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley was the girl who was jogging, and she was murdered by one. Yeah.
Party for that?
The Democrats bringing in all the illegals, over 20 million of them the last 4 years, and they've raped and murdered American girls like Lincoln Riley.
I will never say that one of our political parties is responsible for someone's death. We're all.
Oh yeah, sure. No, they're responsible. They have Kamala Harris and Joe. Excuse. Now he's asking himself questions. No, listen. But the border is federal. The border is federal, and the federal government has been flying from south of the border illegals into this country and allowing them in. There are Americans who have been raped, murdered, and victimized in many other ways. And, I'm assuming you're opposed to slavery, right? You opposed to slavery? Well, Kamala Harris, okay, well, so am I, but Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are not. There is a labor slave and sex slave passage through the southern border into the United States. They're bringing in...
We know about.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes. How if...
I would not utter those words even about.
Well, if you want to live in denial, the reason. So this is what I've got to run for a break. But we've learned why you are a Democrat. You live in denial. Absolutely. Hey, listen. I got to run, but I appreciate the call. All right, take care. All right, I'm late for the break, which I vowed to Steve I wouldn't do 2 breaks. I missed on time today. My New Year's resolution hasn't done too well today. Call us on hold, stand by. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
Radio great again. You're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Bless you. Good call. That guy's a good caller. Oh.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long.
Mike, are there any spots this or next? What are they?
That's up in White Beach, off-ramp, right shoulder's long,
Okay.
crash 95 northbound to Willbright Road, up the Steel and the Turnpike from north and south from Jupiter, Palm Beach, West Palm and Lake Worth, Palm Beach Gardens construction on the Eline Highway from west Blue Heron Boulevard to North Lake Boulevard, and construction in Lake Worth, Hypoluxa Road, Lyons Road to Smith Farm Boulevard. That's traffic. Corey Don.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Start your year winning in the
On New Year's Eve, I started a workout routine.
Yeah.
And you know what I've been doing? I've been doing, I've been using my VR, my virtual reality helmet.
Oh, yeah?
And there's a workout app on it. And, like, it's like personal trainers and, like, it's boxing. You know,
I used to do that with Wii.
Well, We Fit.
Yeah, We Fit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, but like more like immersive, and actually makes you like move
Yeah.
like whole body, and like it picks up your movements on it. And all, you don't have to like stand.
I'm
on
not
something,
gonna.
you just
No working out for me.
I lost 5 pounds.
You lost 5 pounds? Oh my gosh.
And it's only been a week.
That's good.
So,
5 pounds in a
it's-
week?
In a week. And I've been just normally eating what I'm doing. Just
I did on the cruise. They had one of those VR workout things. It was crazy. You could work out like in different parts of the world and
that's
stuff.
what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Every different workout, they shoot you to like a different, like
Yeah.
on top of Everest, on the
Yeah.
moon, on the Grand Canyon, like all that.
It was pretty realistic,
Yeah,
too. I was surprised.
That's exactly what it is. Supernatural.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it. My friend told me about it, and she didn't even really use it, but she's like, because she knew I wanted to try to lose weight. She's like, try this, and ever since I've just been at least an hour or two a day.
Yeah, it's crazy. Did you hear Tina talk yesterday? Tina, did you hear when she was talking about somebody, the engineer, a long time ago, got pissed and bulk erased a bunch of the carts?
Yeah.
Remember I told you that guy?
Yeah.
That was a common thing people would do is bulk erase people's carts.
It's messed up, man.
Radio's a vicious business.
Bulk erasers was probably getting bought a lot by.
Well, see now everything's electronic,
Yeah.
so you like if something gets deleted, you can tell when it was. So back then there was exactly you couldn't do there was no tracking.
Especially with the thing that we use, you can see who was logged on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back then there was no tracking.
You just have to try to figure it out. Yeah. Figure out what next hour's that thing is.
Okay. The reason I do that is so I don't do anything that's in conflict. You know what I mean? I got two of the conflicting things.
Like I'm thinking games there or something. Yeah.
There's a woman that works here at the radio station in the office, and she's worked at radio stations since 1965. And we were talking about some things that people used to do at radio stations that they don't do anymore.
There's no injections, there's no medication, there's no surgery, there's none of that. It's strictly either the laser, the acupuncture I do, or shockwave therapy I do. Open 6 days a week, come in for the free consultation, and be willing to look at you and help you.
Take advantage of that no-charge consultation with Dr. Appleton. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 48 years on the air.
All right, we're back. Calls on hold. Stand by. That last call was very good. During the break, Mike brought up, he was talking about how he's working out on some VR thing. I don't do exercising. And you may have seen over the weekend, former Florida Governor Buddy McKay died. Did you see this, Buddy McKay? He was the governor of Florida before Jeb. And what had happened was he was the lieutenant governor to Lawton Chiles. And he was running for governor against Jeb, and Lawton Chiles died. And he became governor right before the election, Buddy McKay, and he just died. We had him on the show a bunch of times, Buddy McKay. And Lawton Chiles, who died as governor, was known as, this is a true story, he was known as Walkin' Lawton Chiles. Walkin' Lawton Chiles. And he had been in state government since like the 40s. And he would, when he was like a state rep and all that stuff, he walked the entire state of Florida. On foot, he actually walked throughout the entire state of Florida campaigning, and they called him Walkin' Lawton Chiles. So that's somebody that's pretty physically fit. And Lawton Chiles died while governor. And we had him on the show a bunch of times too, Walkin' Lawton Chiles. And he died while he was governor in the same mansion that DeSantis lives in now. And Lawton Chiles died in the morning on the treadmill machine at the governor's mansion. He had a heart attack on the treadmill machine. And then Buddy McKay was lieutenant governor, became governor, who died over the weekend. And I'm not into exercise or work. I'm not trying to discourage you, Mike, but Lawton Chiles was in the best physical condition you could be in. The state of, and when he walked the state of Florida, I'm talking about the Panhandle to Key West and back. Okay, I mean that's a peak physical condition, and he died on the treadmill machine. So that tells you what you need to know about working. All right, there's only one opening on the board. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, the masked lady.
Oh, hey, hey, Louise.
How are you? Yes, I am so tired of these bleeding heart liberals, I agree with you wholeheartedly about Giuliani, and it is a disgrace, and I hope Trump and Pam Bondi can do something about it.
There, we have Mayor Giuliani. There's some, I don't want to say who, but there's somebody that I'm friends with that knows the mayor and was at a party with him recently, and they're thinking about bringing him on the air and asked me if I'd want to join. And I told them what I just told you, and I said I will tell him what I just shared with you guys. I will tell to the mayor right to his face on the air. I mean, what they're doing to him is sick. Sick.
It is, and as far as being a lifelong Democrat, our whole family were Democrats, but we changed. We saw the light.
My grandfather, my mom's dad, wasn't just a Democrat. He was a union guy, union boss, organizer. Okay, but he would not be a Democrat today. With what would my grandfather? My grandfather died in '87. He was almost 90, right? What would my grandfather? He wouldn't even understand this concept of this transgender thing in the sports. He wouldn't even be able to understand that.
Yeah, because I asked people I know, I said, did you ever come across kids in school your whole lifetime?
What do you think Bobby Kennedy, not this one, the senior, Bobby Kennedy and President Kennedy, if they watched the Olympics and saw this guy beating up the girls, what do you think President Kennedy would do? Or Bobby?
Yes, well, they said if he was around today, he would be considered a Republican.
Yeah, yeah.
Thinking wasn't today's.
That caller before the break was a very good caller, and since he had never called before, I went easy on. When somebody's new, I don't give them the treatment. But the deal is, he's black and he's been raised to be a Democrat, and he thinks that Republicans are some type of white supremacist organization because he's been brainwashed. I didn't get into that to him because it was his first time, and and I understand it takes a lot of guts to call me because it's not an easy call to make, to give me grief. But come on, that's what that's about.
I just feel that something should be done with Giuliani because he was terrific. Even though I've been in Florida for 50 years, I heard and know what was going on before he came into power.
Well, here's the thing, Louise. There's lawsuit even if he was in the wrong in that instance, and I'm not saying he was, but some judgments are meant to destroy a person's life. They're unfair, and you've got a guy who's a senior citizen. They bankrupted him, and they're trying to destroy his life financially. I mean, what kind of person would want to take the home away from Audie Murphy or Sergeant York? Who?
I don't even know what the charge was.
It's a civil judgment, but it's a federal civil judgment involving basically representing Trump in 2020. All right, Louise, take care. It's not important. There were some, like the OJ settlement was meant to make it. O.J. Simpson murdered 2 people and got away with it. And that they couldn't get him. Racist jury. Remember, one of the jurors, when the verdict came in, gave him the Black Power fist when they walked into the jury room after the verdict. That's so, that's a reality. So the judgment against O.J. Simpson was to make sure that he could never work or earn a living again. It was meant to punish. But that's not what really judgments in civil courts are supposed to do. What they've done against Giuliani is about destroying a man. All right, let's see here. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
To make sure that he couldn't.
Yes?
Yeah, Jay from Jersey.
Hey, Jay, what's up?
Wow. Well, I don't even know where to start with you this morning. I don't know if I should start where you said white men gave us the right to vote and still gave us civil rights. Wow.
That's true.
It's weird how you're not telling that white men are the ones who took it away in the first place. Oh, we don't want to go there.
Well, that's not true either. That's not true. But slow down. When the legislation was passed in Congress that freed the slaves, gave slaves rights, gave women the vote, and ended Jim Crow and segregation, those were all white Congresses. Those were white people in Congress that passed those laws.
Did you realize who started slavery?
Yeah, the Africans.
White men.
Huh?
Who did slaves work for? White men.
That's not 100% true either. There were black slave owners. But what you're doing is this. You don't want to hear what I'm saying, so you're going wah 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 with your hands over your ears. What ended segregation, to make it more recent, segregation was ended through federal legislation, through the House, the Senate, signed by the president into law. There were no blacks in power in the House, the Senate, or the presidency then. White men passed the civil rights laws and made it illegal to segregate and discriminate against African Americans. White people did that. Martin Luther King was a great man, but he didn't,
Who did it in the first place? But that's not what I called you for. Giuliani, that's what I called you for. You were talking about Giuliani. Oh, poor Giuliani. What about the two women that he ruined their life because MAGA destroyed their lives?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what you're talking about?
No.
You don't know why Giuliani was in court and why Giuliani got
whose life was destroyed and how was it destroyed?
the two black women that he accused of trying to...
So what happened? Well, how did that destroy their life though? Are they unemployed? Are they unable to find them? Are you kidding me?
Let me finish. Those white MAGA people destroyed their lives. They made them move out of their homes. They had to move their families. Their lives were threatened.
Okay, slow down, Jay. I'm up against the break because I'm behind on my schedule. But even if what you said is true, okay? Even if what you said is true, that's Giuliani didn't threaten anybody.
Yes, he did. He's the
When someone goes to court, you hire an attorney. I've never heard before Trump attorneys being arrested, charged with crimes, having judgments. Attorneys represent murderers, pedos. Look at these scumbags, these terrorists that Biden has let out. Even terrorists get lawyers in this country. You don't put the lawyers in prison.
And Giuliani was a rich man, and he ruined his career because he did all of this stuff that got him in trouble for Trump.
All right.
Is a billionaire. The people that surround him are billionaires. Giuliani was working for Trump. Giuliani got in trouble. Giuliani got this judgment against him, but Trump won't give him a dime.
Listen, I give you an example. I don't know that that's true, and we'll find out when Trump's back in to his second term if they can correct the injury. They may be able to defeat the verdict. They may be able to overturn the verdict, and I think that's what they're going to work for. You don't want to pay it off if you can throw out the verdict or overturn the judgment. You don't want to pay it if you can get rid of the judgment. Listen, Jay, I got to run for the break because I am late by several minutes. We'll be right back.
Hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Solon's and their free home security system and free doorbell camera with professional installation offer is here. Yep, finally some great news. How would you like a free doorbell camera? You get a doorbell camera, you get a doorbell camera, and you can get a doorbell camera. The first 40 True Oldies listeners who call 833-283-5050 will get this limited time offer of a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your smartphone with installation of your slow-in shield. And that's not all. Solomons will will give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. So you're going to get an LED touchscreen pad, 10 contacts, backup battery, and service plan. Plus, if you're one of the first 40 True Oldies listeners to call 833-283-5050,
Hey, it's Brian. Hey, I'm a little behind on my schedule, so I'm gonna put you. I can't do it coming right out of the break. I'm gonna go to you before I go to the next one at the top. So you have to be okay. You have to hold for a few minutes. Okay, hold on.
Brian Craig here. Our 6th annual cruise is coming up, and you're all invited. This time, we're sailing for 7 nights on Celebrity Cruise Line's newest ship, the Ascent to Puerto Plata, St. Thomas, and St. Martin. We set sail March 30th. We have private shore excursions, private cocktail parties, group activities. We're going to go to the shows together and much, much more. Call in at Cruise and Travel Depot right now. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. And online at cruisingdepot.com to make your reservation and lock in our private group rate. Nothing comes close to Celebrity Cruises.
Do you have questions about retirement? Hi, it's Kathy Green, co-host of the Jupiter Joe Money Show. Tune in Monday, Wednesday, Thursday at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 7:30 a.m. to the Jupiter Joe Money Show. We answer all kinds of questions about retirement right here on your True Oldies channel.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the bus driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
At All Year, we offer same-day AC service and installation. Need to stay cool? Yes, all year. Need help today? Yes, all year. Zero down financing? Yes, all year. Call us today at 833-ALL-YEAR. That's 833-ALL-YEAR.
Social justice warrior for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, there's only one opening on our board. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Don't forget, come see me and Steve Kane Monday, January 20th at noon, Wings Plus, Sample Road location. We're going to watch President Trump's inauguration on the televisions at Wings Plus with all of you. You're all invited. All right, to the phones we go back to. All right, let's see here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Michelle. Calling from Lake Worth, Florida. I'm a teacher in Palm Beach County.
Hey there.
Hey, I just wanted to make a comment, because I'm a social studies teacher, about what they're saying about the African Americans. First of all, the white men originally did not sell the slaves. In Africa, the actual people in Africa actually kidnapped their own people and sold them.
Yeah, in fact, if you watch Alex Haley's Roots, that's the first scene. Kunta Kinte gets kidnapped by another African tribe and sold to the slave masters. You're right.
No one knows this. And if you could please...
Are you allowed, or by the way, are you allowed to teach this in Palm Beach schools, what you just told me? Is that allowed, or is that not on the curriculum?
You have to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. Can't teach the truth. This is the reality, okay? The Europeans did not invade Africa. They just anchored off the coast, and the African tribesmen brought the slaves to the ships.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, we have some teachers that make sense, but it's very frustrating for you as a social studies teacher to not be able to teach the truth, right? Even in Florida, it's tough.
Yeah, so the comment about Rudy Giuliani, first of all, we all know he cleaned up New York City. Okay, he got rid of all the prostitution, places and everything. He was a wonderful mayor. He was probably the best mayor ever, and also what he did for 9/11. But the thing with him being prosecuted and losing his bar license, that never should have happened. He was targeted just because he was affiliated with Trump. And I don't know if Trump can pardon him and get him back his law license.
I don't know. Well, the money judgment is a federal civil judgment. I don't know if the president can vacate a civil judgment at the federal. I don't know. But I'm assuming what they're trying to do is try to get it overturned through the appellate process. And Rudy is putting off paying anything to try to go through that process. They want to take the money because if it gets overturned, good luck getting it back, right? But yeah, I'm disgusted. I mean, you remember what it was like after 9/11? Everyone in this country, even liberals, were embracing Mayor Giuliani, America's mayor. And yeah.
The other thing is that I can't believe Trump made the comment about how Kamala Harris spent over $1 billion, Beyonce and whoever else, and he actually made a comment. Maybe it was a joke that he was going to help, help Kamala, get her out of debt, which is ridiculous because no one would ever help him.
No. What he said was the celebrities got paid, but the local vendors, like the people that set up the chairs at the arenas, they didn't get paid because Beyonce and all them got all the money. And he said he was open to the idea of the RNC paying some of those vendors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying. But she still paid Oprah a lot of money. I don't want my RNC money paying those.
Yeah. Oh, so who's that in the background? A child or a student? What's
my wife?
Oh, you're lesbian? Yeah. Oh, my gay MAGA. That's good. Okay. There's
teacher. I mean, Republican, and I was like, you got to be crazy to vote for her.
I remember when two lesbian teacher when I was in high school in Fort Lauderdale, and this was '85. My home ec teacher, we found out she was lesbian. There was a gay pride parade in Fort Lauderdale, and her and my math teacher were marching in the front of it. We found out they couldn't get married. Are you like really married, or just like a?
Married. Okay, we were married in 2010. Okay, we were married in 2010 in Boston because Boston was the first state to recognize it. And then and then Florida legalized it in, I think, 2015 or 2016.
2014, 2015, it actually legalized it before the federal government, and we had a religious sacrament.
Yeah, and then 2012, we had our marriage actually blessed.
It's not legalized in Florida or the federal level until subsequent to that.
Yeah, well, it's legal. It's legal everywhere now, and that's okay. We're not opposed to, as long as they don't make churches do it, it's fine with conservatives. Conservatives are not against gay marriage. A lot of people think they are, but they're not. Okay, well, it's good to hear. Yep. Yes.
And everybody's concerned. Like the thing is, when you vote for a president, you vote for the big picture. And I kept telling people where I work for, you don't vote because of transgender. You don't vote because of abortion. You vote for the big picture, which is immigration, keeping people here safe, and also, everything else, the fentanyl and reducing, our debt and everything. And he's going to make America great again.
Absolutely. Now let me ask you a personal question about the gay stuff. Are both of you lifelong lesbians, or were either of you like married or with men throughout your life and gave up the penis?
No, we were together. We moved. Okay.
You're both lifetime. But have both of you been gay all your life, or were you ever like with men?
No, and we didn't realize. I didn't realize when I was about 30. And
See, gay married people bicker too. It's just like us straights. Yeah.
I went to college, and I was just confused, but I didn't act on anything because I didn't want to be gay. Neither one of us did.
Not even that. You just don't. You're not sure.
You're not sure. But anyway, we met in 2004. We've been together 20 years, and anyway.
Okay, well that's great. God bless you. All right, take care. All right, appreciate the call. Well, it's pretty good out there. Okay. All right, let's. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're gonna check in with Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot. Hey, Ian. Yeah, we sold out all of our cabins a couple weeks ago on our cruise, and we said from time to time there will be openings on board the ship that we're going to tell you about. And you texted me earlier this morning and said some more affordable. Yesterday, there were a couple of suites with butlers and everything were available, but some more affordable cabins have opened up this morning. Can you tell people about those?
Sure. A couple deluxe inside staterooms. The deluxe insides are on the higher decks. They opened up, and also an infinite veranda room with a slight obstruction opened up as well.
Now, the two rooms that you say deluxe, but they're inside cabins.
Correct.
Okay, so those of you that don't, if you're open to an inside cabin, you can get a good deal on a couple of those. And the other one is a obstructed view, but it's an infinite veranda, which means you can go outside and you got a nice view of the ocean and everything.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, listen, guys, if you want to join us on the cruise, give Ian a call. We don't usually have this happen. That is, sell out so early. So every once in a while, there's an opening on the ship, and we're going to tell you about it. And these are some good deals. So if you're open to the idea of an inside cabin, and by the way, these are deluxe inside cabins. So far as inside cabins go, they're a little nicer, a little bigger. And if you don't mind a small obstructed view with your infinite veranda, give Ian a call and join us. We leave March 30th on our Trump celebration cruise. His number, 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. If you get his voicemail, leave your name and number, and Ian will call you back. 561-244-5779. All right, Ian, take care. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, bro.
All right, guys, give Ian a call. Join us, okay? We're going to have a great time. This is our 6th annual cruise. No liberal stowaways allowed, but the rest of you are invited. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our break for the top of the hour and be right back.
Choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldest forecast.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Barone from the All Year Cooling Weather Center. Today is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025, and right now it's 54 degrees outside. As we go throughout the day, though, the temperatures are going to reach as high as 70 degrees with clear conditions to start the day, then with partly cloudy conditions throughout the rest of the day.
Very good calls today. Very good calls on the show today.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long.
Okay.
Traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
95 north and south, stop-and-go delays between 6th Avenue South and Hypoluxo Road. Turnpike northbound slowdowns past Lake Worth Road. A crash in Palm Beach PG Boulevard at Lake Victoria Gardens. Construction in Palm Beach Gardens on the Beeline Highway from West Blue Heron Boulevard to North Lake Boulevard. That's traffic. I'm Dory Don.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's showtime in the paddock. Check out the exciting 2025 lineup with fabulous dinner shows like Start Me Up, tribute to the Rolling Stones on January 10th, memories of Elvis Valentine's Day, Splish Splash, the music of Bobby Darin, comedian Patrick Warburton, and more. The paddock is your best bet for OTB action and Sunday football playoffs with wing and drink specials and over 140 HD TVs and big screens. For tickets and info, go to ppkennelclub.com.
Brian Craig here. When it comes time to get my blood work done, I don't have time to spend hours in the doctor's office or waiting hours for those big labs. That's why I do any lab test now in Boca and any lab test now in Coral Springs for all of my lab. Their techs are highly skilled and professional, and their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest on lab work you'll find anywhere. Appointments aren't necessary. Doctor's orders and prescriptions, I need it. I'm in and out in 15 minutes or less. I get the results the next day in my email box, and they also send it to my doctor. There's lots of any lab test nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to any lab test now in Boca and any lab test now in Coral Springs. Any lab test now in Boca is in the Sanderfoot Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough Boulevard on the east side of State Road 7 and 41. Any lab test now in Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall. Call any lab test now in Boca at 561-237-5009.
this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
On the air since 1977.
Playing my voicemail.
It's the Steve Kane Show.
All right, the third hour has begun. Callers on hold, stand by. We'll go right back to the phones. Great calls today, by the way. This is really the first week of the new year because a lot of people on holiday mode last week, even though we were here. 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Dave in Virginia.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, Brian, since Rudy was found guilty in Georgia, they have...
No, he wasn't found guilty. He was not found guilty. It's a civil case, a civil judgment. There's no guilt or innocence in a civil judgment.
Well, they did find out that there was cheating.
Well, they're accusing him. They're accusing him. I guess I don't know. This is what I know. Okay, lawyers represent murderers and rapists and serial killers and Al-Qaeda terrorists, and I've never heard of lawyers being sued or arrested and charged with crimes as if they're working in collusion with clients. Okay, and that's the way it is. Okay, that's the way it is. This monster in New Orleans and the other terrorist in Vegas, if they would have lived, they would have had representation in court. Look, today in court, this is a great example. Today in court, that monster that lit the woman on fire in the subway is going to show up in court. He has a lawyer. Are you going to arrest his lawyer and charge him with an accessory to that crime? That's what they're trying to do with these lawyers that represent Trump. A lot of them have been arrested. This is a new thing in this country. Never heard of anything like this happening. Have you?
No.
Yeah, you don't go after the lawyers. Everyone is entitled to representation.
Yes.
Even the monster who lit the woman on fire in the subway.
Yes. You're right.
So what the case is about is irrelevant. This thing with that Democrats have been doing because they're monsters, arresting and suing lawyers as if they're an accessory to the crime. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find some way to get Rudy off.
It's awful. All right, appreciate the call. Thank you very much. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. This is Richie.
Hey, Richie.
I got a little wrong list here. First, I'm going to address Jay. Okay, Jay. I wake up every morning. The first thing on my mind is not that I'm white, and not that I'm black, and not that I'm purple. Jay, you're a slave at this time in your life. You're a slave to a mental slave with this hatred that you can't let go of. You are a slave. I'm sorry to say that. I mean, you might not be working for the white man, but your hate for the white man is so...
Listen, this is the deal, okay? Jay's a bum. So instead of going out and working and being productive, he blames all this racism stuff as an excuse to be a bum.
Now, the two black women, because he had to bring up the fact that they were black women, they were from a black area, Atlanta, which is a black city. And I'm sure that the judgment that they received from Giuliani, they're getting the judgment. That judgment is supposed to be on how much you would have earned. There are people that have gotten maimed in car wrecks, and the rest of their lives they're in wheelchairs. They're not going to make out like these two. Mm-hmm. This is dark. It was the mother and the daughter, and the TV kept on showing films of the passing of that hard drive or that the thumb drive, and that's why they were accused.
Well, I'm not sure if Pam Bondi was involved in the case with Giuliani in Georgia, but she was working with Giuliani back then. And I'm just hoping that as Attorney General something can be done. Because you know what I was talking about with the last caller, Richie, this new thing that they've done with Trump lawyers, arresting them and doing all this stuff. Every serial killer in history has had a lawyer. You don't go after the lawyers. That's not how that's not how it works. Except if you represent Trump.
Now, the guy from California that called you up and said he was insulted because you said all liberals are terrible people, and he tried to tell you that the party for the people, to help the people. Ronald Reagan always said, when the government says, we're here to help you, you better run the other way. First of all, you're going to be going out to Los Angeles. I think this guy said he was from California.
Yeah.
You're going to be going by miles of homeless people in the streets with needles, tents, cardboard boxes. On your way to your daughter, I guess, if you take that route, you're going to see all this. This is a Democratic area. So what they do, the Democrats, make it short, they create the problem, and then they go after working people to try to solve problems with money.
Mm-hmm.
And they take from the people at work, and actually they compound the problem even more and more and more. I mean, the housing problem.
It's really weird when my daughter picks me up at the airport. So and she, last time I went out there, she told me about this before, but I wanted to see it for myself. And when she picked me up at the airport, I didn't want to drive by Skid Row with my daughter. But if you know how you get your directions on your iPhone with iMaps. On iMaps and Google Maps, it actually shows you in red Skid Row in LA to avoid and it gives you directions to avoid Skid Row. It's crazy.
Is it Philadelphia too, by the way?
Oh yes, Philadelphia is worse.
New York, but what they've done is they open up the border, by the way, and they create more of a problem with homeless. This is, and then they throw money that from working people, they make it so unaffordable to live. In California, they're running away because people can't afford to live there anymore. I mean, so this guy, they're here to help. You know, we want to know how the government helps you stay the hell out of your life, man. That's the bottom line.
Exactly.
The government to be your mother and your father for the rest of your life.
The government, this is what I tell people. The government views working people, Americans, views people as organisms that excrete money for them to take and spend. You know, it's like The Matrix. This is the example I always give. The Matrix is a conservative movie. That's where the red pill and blue pill thing come from, right? In The Matrix, the heat generates energy to power the Matrix in the movie. That we are organisms that excrete tax money for them to take and spend on others, and steal some of it along the way. That's all we are to them.
Well, here's the deal. I pay taxes at the end of the, every year. They hit me for tax, believe it or not. I got to pay them. I got taxes on the house, which is gone crazy. I got taxes all over the place. But you're basically writing, would anyone out there in their right mind write a blank check and just hand it to a politician? Because that's what we're doing. They spend it the way they feel. Our money, we have no control over.
Well, it's that old saying that what is it? A conservative is a liberal that's been mugged. And a lot of people, when I was young, Richie will remember this, I used to be liberal. And what happened to me is one year I did my taxes, and not only did I not get a refund, I owed money. And I did my taxes over again, and I owed money. It was over $3,000. That was it for me, And that's it. Once you become a producer and you start learning, it's easy to be a liberal when you're sucking off the system like these bums are. Like the two lesbians that I just talked to. Gays as a group are high net worth individuals because I know it's changed a little bit, but they don't have the families, they don't have the kids and the grandkids in the same numbers as we heteros have. So they got a lot of extra cash, and also gays, high percentage of gays are college educated and high earners on top of it. So the reason so many gays are conservative or MAGA is because of the taxes. Okay, that's a big part of it. I'm here to tell you. All right, Richie, got to run. Thanks for the call. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our first break of the third hour and be back. All right, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Great. What do you have for us today?
Well, today I wanted to talk about what we do at the Siegel Law Group regarding elder law. We've been talking a lot about New Year's resolutions and getting people's estate planning done and keeping those resolutions, but let's not forget about protecting your assets during your lifetime from the biggest threat we have as we age, and that's the cost of long-term care. So if you happen to know somebody, a friend, family member, who may be in a nursing home, assisted living facility, or even may be receiving care at home, they're probably spending a lot of money on that care unless they have long-term care insurance, which could run out. So an elder law attorney such as ourselves, what we could do is we could help that person qualify for government benefits, the Medicaid benefit, even though I'm sure some of you who are listening are thinking, well, gee, Medicaid's not for me or anybody I know because it's for people who are poor and impoverished, which is true. However, elder law attorneys can help people who have assets and income in excess of the limits still qualify. Not in every case, but in most cases, we can. And so if you know somebody who is receiving care and spending down their assets, that's somebody who should be calling us because we might be able to help them protect their assets and not run out of money. Lifetime.
And also, a lot of people, they become, they lean on their adult children. And sometimes you'll see adult children leave a career, leave a job so they can care for mom or dad. And that causes a lot of financial hardship and a lot of other issues. And the Medicare planning you do, Barry, can pay for both nursing home and at-home care, right?
Medicaid can pay for home care, assisted living, and nursing homes. And your point about the adult children leaving work to take care of their parents, I do see that often. But another thing I see often too, let's say it's the husband that's having issues and needs care. What I see is that the spouse, who's also aging and may have their own problems, is taking care of that husband, and now that's causing the wife's health to go downhill. And I've seen where the wife, who was the healthy one, dies first because all the stress of taking care of the ill spouse.
Wow.
Not a good idea to have an aging spouse taking care of the other spouse when you could be getting professional care coming in to take care of you, and let's let Medicaid pay for the lion's share of it.
And I also think, and this is another aspect of it, but I think a lot of time, listen, we have the oldest population in America. So anyone who's lived in Florida their whole life, like I have, or Attorney Barry Siegel, we've seen these stories, many times with people we know. But also, I think it helps people, it helps seniors keep their dignity when somebody comes to take care of them, as opposed to rely. They've taken care of their family, and then they have their kids or their wife or their husband taking care of their personal needs and everything. It helps people maintain their independence when they have this home care or assisted living, as opposed to leaning on relatives. In my opinion, listen, give Attorney Barry Siegel a call, and remember, it is always a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group if you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program. Also, no matter where you are in the state of Florida, the Siegel Law Group can help. 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we will talk later in the week. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we are back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I am talking to you. Yes.
Hi, I'm glad I could get you. My name is Eric, and I live in Nebraska. And I just want you to know that I am not bragging about anything I'm about to say. I hate myself, and I need to be God and put to death.
All right. Okay. All right. I mean, come on. Give me a break. Living in Nebraska ain't that bad. I mean, you get these calls. When I first started taking live calls on the air, I'd get these. I remember one lady called me, and you get an ear to tell the kooks from the real people. This one woman, I was really concerned. She was an old lady. She called. She hadn't eaten in 4 days, and and she wanted me to help her get food, and I fell for it, and she was apparently she called every show in town telling them that. I didn't know at the time, but you kind of get an ear for it. All right, our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Barbara in Baltimore.
Hey, Barbara.
I've been listening for a while. Great show. And you were talking to someone who, the first-time caller when I first started listening, about taxes. And they were talking about something you mentioned, earned income credit being welfare. And it absolutely is. But I just want to say ditto to Richie. He hit on some very key things, and ditto, just double ditto. And as far as the slaves, black slave owners, there were a number of black slave owners, including Kamala Harris's family.
Mm-hmm.
There were slave owners in Jamaica. So black folks need to take the shackles off their brain, which is where it is. The shackles came off their ankles and hands and went on their brain in the Democrat Party. And it wasn't just white men or white people, it was men that passed all these, the civil rights bills, the voting rights bills, and all of that. They were Republican white men.
That's correct.
If it weren't for the Republican Party, especially you people that are not well-read, the people, you know who I'm talking about, you've got a couple of dozens, and I do believe that they're bums, because when you start working and paying taxes, and I'm a tax professional, and that's why I first called in, because you were talking about earned income credit as welfare. It absolutely is. It's welfare in reverse is what it is. And when you couple that with the child tax credit, which is unlimited number of children under 17, by the way, and child tax credit is $2,000 per child, and illegals, the TINs can get child tax.
Yeah, and and Barbara, since you're in the tax, see a lot of people can. There's all kinds of taxes, but just to break it down. A lot of people don't understand. There's a difference between payroll taxes and income taxes. Payroll taxes are for your Social Security and Medicare benefits when you retire, and everybody pays those that pay. Income tax is money that you make above and beyond that. And when when I was young, tax time was awesome, man. I didn't make any money. I got refunds. I couldn't wait. I was rushing, And then when people start earning money, one of the reasons so many blacks have become conservative over the years is because we finally have economic equality in America. And when when you become a homeowner and you have skin in the game, as Obama likes to say, you get tired of working hard to pay for a bunch of freeloaders. And if you broke down what most people pay in taxes, most people in this country are paying about 50% of their income in taxes. Your cell phone taxes, your cable taxes, toll roads, renewing your auto tags, property taxes, sales tax. We don't have that in Florida, thankfully. We don't have state income. In fact, the Florida state constitution forbids income taxes in the state level. But if you added up all those taxes, you're paying about 50% of your income in taxes, and it's scary.
You know what, and Brian, and you should. People who are paying those taxes should be upset about the earned income credit. It used to be just 2 children. I've been a tax professional for the last 30 years, and it used to be 2 children on earned income credit. And I'm going to tell you something, well, if I have time anyway, to what earned income credit has done, and child tax credit as well, what it has done to the family. You have people that will not get married now. They will not get married because when you have two people, they could be living in the house, one of them may use another address. I'm telling you, there are all kinds of ways to get around this thing. And they take the children, divide them in half. You take two. And it's also encouraged out-of-wedlock children, numerous number of out-of-wedlock children. You wonder how these women on welfare, how can they afford to have 6, 7, 8 children, 10 children? Because how do you and I could
exactly. And they do, and I'll tell you, there's. Go ahead, finish up, Barbara.
Well, I was just going to say they also get subsidized housing by the taxpayers, and they get food stamps. And the food stamps for someone with 6 or 7 children, you're talking $1,500, $2,000 a month.
And you can buy anything with them because the stores will sell it. They'll ring it up as anything, And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay, most people that are Democrats, like that guy that called earlier, he was from California, I believe. He's been brainwashed. He's just been brought up and brainwashed.
When people call in, when people talk about this thing, the money that they're receiving is probably from some source of the government, because otherwise you're paying. You're either getting it from the government or you're paying.
Yesterday they said. I think it was it Byron Donalds? I think it was Byron Donalds said yesterday that they've already drawn up the bill for the no taxes on tips. And that these things are massive. The tax cuts that in the old days when it was cash, they put the money in their pocket. They didn't pay taxes. But since everything's electronic now, I mean, I pay with Apple Pay or whatever. The tip workers have been hit hard by that. And believe me, there's going to be a lot of red-pilled people when they start seeing their take-home pay go way up when they don't have to pay taxes on tips anymore.
And I do believe that Democrats are not going to be electable for at least another generation. I hope another 2 generations. I won't be here to see.
Well, listen. Look at what Trump's doing right now, okay? In the last election, the only states that Kamala won were states that do not require photo ID to vote. She did Kamala did. Okay, I'm going to repeat it because it's so important. The only states that Kamala Harris won were states that do not require photo ID to vote. And if you look at what Trump's doing, they're saying I see them setting this up. They're saying, listen, the states handle the election, but when it comes to federal elections, we have authority. And the Republicans are looking to pass legislation overseeing federal elections at the state level, which would require photo ID in federal elections, among other things. And that's a absolutely.
President Trump.
All right, Barbara. All right, take care. All right, don't forget, come meet me and Steve Kane on Inauguration Day, Monday the 20th at Wings Plus on Sample Road. We're going to be, it's about a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road in Coral Springs. The inauguration is at noon. We'll be watching President Trump's second and final inauguration live. You are all invited. Monday, Inauguration Day, which is the 20th. All right, we'll be right back.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. The greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning. From the all-year cooling weather center, South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Maroon from the All-Year Cooling Weather Center. Today is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025, and right now it's 54 degrees outside. As we go throughout the day, though, temperatures are going to reach as high as 70 degrees with clear conditions to start the day and with partly cloudy conditions throughout the rest of the day. So make sure you stay warm, stay hydrated, and have a wonderful start to your Tuesday.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long. And now,
45th Street crossing slowdowns. Stop and go delays through Lantana 95 North between Hypo-Luxo Road and Okeechobee Boulevard. Turnpike northbound slow between Lake Worth Road and Southern Boulevard. That's traffic. I'm Dory Don.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Start your year winning in the poker room at PBKC with daily cash games, super high hands, big money tournaments, and mega bad beat jackpots. Plus your favorite table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum every day of the week. PBKC is also your best bet for OTB action with big races from Oaklawn, Gulfstream, Santa Anita, and more. For more information, go to ppkennelclub.com.
This is your time to really focus on wellness. Wellness of mind, body, and spirit. Amrit Ocean Resort is now open on Singer Island, the next generation luxury wellness resort, merging Eastern principles and Western luxury. For full-story wellness spas like nothing you've experienced before. Hydrothermal
I'm reading an article that I want to be talking about. I'm reading an article on McDonald's ending their DEI didn't earn it programs.
impressive facilities of Amrit Ocean Resort. Face and body treatments, including Reiki experiences, reflexology, and massage. Explore all available offers at AmritOcean.com. That's AMRITOcean.com.
Brian Craig here. If you're a homeowner, business owner, or with a homeowners association and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting. With a AAA credit rating and bonded up to $10 million, Laporta Contracting doesn't need a large deposit like those other contractors do. Typical deposits other contractors want are 1/3 of the contract. If your job is $30,000, that's a $10,000 deposit. If your job is $300,000, that's $100,000. What are they doing with your money? Typically, it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get a permit.
We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
If they need money for the materials, they don't have credit with the suppliers, and that spells bad news for the homeowner or HOA. Tom Laporta is honest, knowledgeable, and
If you're on hold, hang in there.
He'll never sell you a roof you don't need. Laporta Contracting has been in the roofing and contracting business since 1988, and his services cover the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Tom Laporta can handle any type of roofing job too: residential roofing and repair, commercial roofs, schools, municipal buildings, office buildings, emergency repairs. If it's roofing, Tom Laporta can do it. Call Tom Laporta right now on his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com.
Hi, I'm Sloan Smith. We love our Florida sunshine, but a hot house? Definitely not. At All Year, we offer same-day AC service and installation. Need to stay cool? Yes, all year. Need help today? Yes, all year. Zero down financing? Yes, all year. We're South Florida's #1 for comfort because our family is serving your family all year. Call us today at 833 all year. That's 833 all year.
The fake news tried to tear down Mike Lindell and my pillow, but Mike Lindell stood strong, just like President Trump. This is Brian Craig. It's time to celebrate President Trump's historic victory with My Pillow's Price Buster deals. Save with our promo code KANE at checkout.
Awesome, CR. Thanks so much.
Every night, and you can choose from top-rated mattresses, including the revolutionary My Pillow foam mattress with 5 comfort layers for the best sleep ever, and the 2-sided encased coil quilted mattress. It's built for unbeatable comfort and delivered right to your door.
We'll be back in about 60 seconds. A little less than that.
A 6-month money-back guarantee, and they're made right here in the United States. There's never been a better time to upgrade your sleep. Go to mypillow.com and use the promo code KANE, KANE, at checkout for huge savings. Celebrate Trump's win and sleep like a patriot.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet. Muscle
Well, thanks for subbing. Appreciate it.
balance, muscle twitching.
There's the last commercial.
Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642.
The Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 48 years on the air.
All right, we're back. Calls on hold, standby. Great calls today so far. We'll see. Well, we had one that was kind of strange. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
From Wayne?
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, I'm hearing Barbara there talking about, the tax things and all this and how a lot of the people, would keep having children, to keep getting money from the state.
Yeah.
And which is still true to this day. And I've waitressed and bartended pretty much my whole life. I'm in my 70s now. So a lot of the money that we made back then was cash, so we never got to declare that. In the late 70s, the IRS one of the guys came into where I worked, and my boss told him to come back. You're not taking my girls and talking to them, because they wanted to start taxing the waitresses and stuff on their tips back then, And a lot of women who were older then quit waitressing, even though, because they said, well, what the heck? And back then, like a quarter would buy you all-day coffee, 1 cup. And the thing is, if they came in and checked on you and you happened to have a good day and had $40 in tips that day, they wouldn't say that every day you made $40. It didn't matter if you made 10 the next day.
Yeah.
And, and it was just so unfair. And so right around that time, I had another part-time job at another bar, and a woman came in who was on welfare. I was from Rhode Island. They call it welfare. And she was bragging to me and the bartender about having an apartment for free. She had a child with her who was probably about 8, who looked so no food in the kid, And she's sitting there bragging about her apartment and the great furniture and this and that. Because they gave the welfare people, they didn't have to pay anything for an apartment, not even $50 a month.
Yeah.
And they got it completely furnished with nice furniture.
Yeah, the Section 8 housing. So let me ask you, first off, you're in your 70s now. What happens to like a lady waitress, bartender, cocktail waitress when you get older? What do you do?
Hoping all the people you've been waiting on your whole life are still alive.
Or you get married.
Exactly. And not only that, but a lot of them didn't get married but got boyfriends who had money, because just like when they were older, getting in the 80s and stuff, they would have to, if they moved in and got married, they would have to share their Social Securities, and one would lose some of the Social Security, usually the woman. So a lot of the older, like in their 80s back then, would just live together, which was a...
But I got to tell you, there's a big thing with tipping these days that's really annoying. Like, you go to places that you shouldn't tip in, and they ask you on the scanner if you're going to... Like, I went to an ice cream shop, okay, the other day, and it asked me how much do I want to tip at the ice cream shop. And I mean, what are you going to do?
Like, oh God, they're just looking at you,
I go, like, I went to, I get another example. I went to a Jersey Mike's sub shop, and I'm checking out at Jersey Mike's, and, and I go there all the time, and then it's asking, if I don't tip, they know. And it's, I don't think you should be tipping at Jersey Mike's.
That guy that's not going to tip, don't take him.
Exactly. But you know what I mean? They're pushing the tips a little too hard in places they shouldn't. I am a good tipper, I must tell you.
I was at a restaurant with my girlfriend just for lunch, and it was, the bill I think was about $25, and the girl that was outside where we were sitting, she was the only waitress, and the boys from the kitchen were bringing the food out. I'm telling you, this girl was something. I admired this woman, and she was, in her probably 30s. She's running, she's smiling, she's doing this, she's not like, oh, God, I gotta get this coffee, and they had it running really smooth, and I admire her. I left a $25 tip for her.
Wow, that's great.
My girlfriend was so upset with me, and I said, I just put it in there, and when I handed the girl a thing, I said, yes, this is correct. Thank you so much.
I saw a thing once. You said you're calling from Broward? What part of Broward? Oh, Boynton. Okay, I thought you said Broward. There used to be a place. I'm sure it's still there, but there used to be a place on 17th Street Causeway in Fort Lauderdale called Lester's Diner. And it used to be, it's just west of the bridge. And I don't know if it's still there. Joyce Kaufman used to be the manager there. And crazy as it is, when I was in high school, she threw me and a bunch of my friends out when I was in high school. And years later, we're working together at a radio station. She didn't remember it, but I remember. But anyway, I was there once. It used to be like a 50s. It became a regular diner, but it used to be a 50s themed place. And you know, like the waiter and waitress would sit down in the booth with you to take your order. It was like Happy Days. And I saw once, I was in there once, and somebody had ordered, like, they had a big thing, like $200 worth of stuff, and they left a $5 tip. And the waiter took the tip and threw it at him and said, "Keep your effing money. I don't want your effing." And he was like really screaming. I've never seen anything like that before. I mean, that's just part of the business. You don't get it. You make it up in over time, I guess. Have you ever seen anything like that? Have you ever seen anything like that?
Absolutely. And, back in the late 70s, like I said, like coffee, you'd pay a quarter for a cup all day long. And the diner I worked at was a lot of the big rig drivers, So if you drew the 5 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon shift, you were a lucky gal because you might walk out with $60 that day because they would just throw money on the table and you just keep serving them all their stuff. And whatever was left after the bill was paid, that was yours. But some of them would only have coffee and some, like a little thing, and take stuff with them on the road. And that whatever was left, you might have gotten a $20 tip from one guy.
But this thing with the no tax on tips, though, it's so big because it's so many. It's not just waiters and waitresses and bartenders. It's the Uber Eats drivers, the Lyft drivers, the Uber, all those people, and that is, let me tell you, that's a lot of money in a tax break. I don't. Yeah.
It's not fair because, you're running around, in today's world, people are just mean. And when they're getting something, oh my God, I ordered 6 peas on my plate and there's only 5. Come on now, I mean, it's like, come on.
Yeah. It's a big break. No taxes on tips, I believe, is life-changing income for most people in the tip economy.
Absolutely. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to be like, well, how do I have this money left over? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And stuff. So, I mean, and cheers to all of the hardworking people out there who are just trying to live and survive. And if anybody was in the position, like, a millionaire went in for one day undercover to be a waitress or a waiter, they'd be like, holy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I appreciate the call. Take care. Yeah. The no tax on tips. I mean, that is, when I say life-changing money, it is. People that are in that income, it depends on where you work, how much you make. We used to have a sponsor. The restaurants, it's no longer guys. Anybody remember Burton Jack's in Port Everglades? It was owned by Burt Reynolds. And this was like in the 90s, the waiters would make like $60,000 a year because it was the only restaurant in town that required a jacket. So it was upscale, and it was inside Port Everglades, and they're making $60,000 a year, like in the 90s at that restaurant, waiters and waitresses. Pretty good money because the tips were so big. But they were in cash probably most of the time because there was no Apple Pay yet. You're on air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
George in Pompano Beach.
Hey, George.
I have been trying to reach you, and tell me what's possible. Let me know what that might be. But I'm a retired Air Force pilot, and I flew C-130 skis on Greenland for 2 years from 1957 to 59.
Oh my gosh, you're an old timer. You're flying in the Air Force in the 50s? That means you went to college like in the 50s and maybe the 40s. Oh my goodness. Well, would you want to share about, you have some Greenland knowledge you want to share?
Well, the fun of flying skis and landing on the Greenland ice cap at 12,000 feet above sea level.
That sounds pretty cool.
It was cool, yeah, it was really cool. You might want to talk to me sometime in the future, or anybody wants to call and...
Yeah.
Experience.
You sound lonely. You lonely? Looking for some company?
No. Listen, I'm doing really well. I'm
Great.
94.
94? Oh my goodness.
I'm still driving and working.
You drive and what do you do for work at 94?
Well, I take people to. I work for Uber and I go to the airport.
What? You drive? You're 94 years old and you drive for Uber?
Perfect health.
Oh my goodness! What kind? What level Uber are you? Like what kind of car do you have?
I had a BMW, a big, long, black one, but I've changed it over to a Jeep. But I thought, it's struggling for the executives.
So you're, what do people think when because they know, they got an idea of how old you are. You probably tell them, right, because you're 94. But 90, really?
Yeah, how old I am, because I look 70 instead of 90.
Okay, you look 70. So let me ask you though, are you driving for Uber because you just want something to do, or do you need the extra income?
Oh no, it's just to keep busy. I also volunteer and I feed the poor.
Oh, okay. So you got some bucks, so and you just do it for fun. That's crazy. I mean, 94. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of old to be driving in general. Are you one of those? Are you one of those Uber drivers that has a camera on your windshield filming everything in the cabin in the car? I hate that. I hate when I get into an Uber and they're filming me. I know they do it for their own protection, but
it is so much fun flying over the Greenland, chasing the herds of moose or deer and.
Is it more adventurous than Uber driving? Because I can imagine you got it's.
Fly 100 feet over the terrain.
Oh my goodness! So what do you think about Trump wanting to annex Greenland as part of the United States?
I think it's a great idea. That's what piqued my interest, and that's why I'm on the phone with you. I've been listening to you in Pompano Beach for 20 years.
Oh my goodness! Oh well, hey, listen, it's good to hear from you, and you can DM me on Twitter. Brian Craig Show on X, Twitter, whatever you call it. Oh my goodness! Do you have Facebook? Well, how would you DM me? What platform do you use? Nothing. Okay. Well, you can call me. Well, you can call me on the show on occasion. Listen, I got to run, but God bless you. 94-year-old Uber driver. Oh my goodness. Crazy. That cool thing about Florida. Like I used to land planes with skis in Greenland. When you live in Florida, everybody retires to Florida. So the people you meet in Florida, you meet everybody that has done everything, when you live in Florida. All right, we'll take a break and be back with the Gold Report.
The Cold.
All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
The metals looking very good today. Every one of them are up nicely, and the markets seem to be getting ready to take off again. So we could be looking at that $3,000 gold this year.
Oh.
Yesterday we saw gold close trading in a range of $2,613 to $2,653, and closed out the day down $3.30 at $2,636.10. Silver was up 31 cents at $29.90 the ounce. Platinum closed down $2 at $9.33, and palladium closed down $7 at $9.03. The rally really continues in the metals today, though, with gold trading in a range of $2,632 on the low, all the way up to $2,663, and right now we're at $2,660. That's up $23.90. Silver up 35 cents at $30.25 the ounce. Platinum up $17 at $9.50, and palladium up $7 at $910. So the markets are looking like they want to go higher.
Absolutely. Now, and the 1 ounce gold, how are the American Gold Eagles and the American Gold Buffaloes looking these days?
Looking good. Price-wise, the premiums are back down to normal pricing, although they are more expensive than the other government products. They are available at the normal premiums.
Yeah.
Good values.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of people... and I don't know if I've asked you about this before, William Youngman, but a lot of people when they're acquiring gold, they'll acquire like all of the same thing as opposed to a variety of coins. Does it matter when people come in? Does it matter if all they have are eagles, or if they have like a variety? If they have eagles, maple leaves, kangaroo, does it matter to you, or should people like stick to one type?
Matter to us at all. Gold is gold, and what picture is on it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. It's just
gold is gold. Gold is gold. Yeah.
Enjoy collecting different varieties in different countries, and have a nice portfolio of wonderful different historical coins.
Yeah, it makes it a little. It's up to you, but listen. If you have any questions, William Youngerman and his expert team over there are happy to help. They open up at 10 a.m. Stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway, on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. Or give them a call. Again, they open at 10 a.m. 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. And online, you can find both the phone number and address, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we will talk tomorrow. Okay, we are back. Before we get back to the issues, I want to talk about Dr. Appleton. Dr. Appleton has rid me of pain 6 times, and 2 at each of my shoulders. And I was talking to him about my right shoulder was, awful. Then I had a problem with my left shoulder. And he had told me, he gave me an examination. And by the way, it's a free consultation with Dr. Appleton. I don't know if I've shared that with you before, but Dr. Appleton mentioned it in the new commercials we're running with him on them. He examined me. I had in my left shoulder, because I go in there, I'm in just so much pain. I want the relief, which he rids me of the pain. But I was talking to him about my left shoulder last time because it was hurting so bad. And what was wrong with me? He said I had something I'd never heard of before called frozen shoulder, which apparently is more common in women than men, but men get it too. And man, I tell you, there's so many different types of pain, and you encounter them all as you grow older. His laser away pain treatment works. I am pain-free. He has rid me of pain 6 times. And when he's rid me of pain, the pains have never returned. The first time we met Dr. Appleton 2.5 years ago, or a little longer, and he rid me of my knee pain. And boom, my right knee. The pains have not returned, and he's rid me of pain 6 times. It's amazing. Listen, stop suffering. Growing old is, it's growing old, but you don't have to live in pain. Go see Dr. Appleton. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself, not an assistant. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays, okay? His number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. All right, now there's a lot of news going around that McDonald's is dropping their woke DEI policies. This is interesting. This is what they're doing. I got the list here. I'll go through it. And they made a big announcement. McDonald's, this isn't something they're doing. They just announced this, which is interesting. We're ending woke. They made a global announcement. And here's what they're doing. McDonald's, and this was like 3-4 days ago, they're going to end diversity goals for how many of each skin color they hire. And in the article here, it says they'll no longer participate in the HRC's Woke Corporate Equity Index. What is that? Is that Hillary Rodham Clinton? What's the HRC? They're going to end their DEI pledge for supplier diversity through their entire supply chain, and among many other things. So instead of getting, when it comes to the supply chain at McDonald's globally, instead of getting the best supplies at the best prices, they've been doing it by diversity. See, here's what's going on. This extreme liberalism with woke is a very, very tiny minority opinion. And when I mean minority, I don't mean ethnically. I mean political philosophy. The woke people are a very small group. They're overrepresented in media in places like that, which gives the impression that it's very popular. And McDonald's and others around the country, even as crazy and as hard as it is to believe, Disney, they took a transgender character out of a new animated film they have coming out. They're still woke, by the way. My Disney annual I've been a Disney annual pass holder for many, many years, and my pass is expiring this month or next month. I'm not renewing it for the first time. And it's a direct result of one of their policies I'm not going to get into right now, but maybe in another program. But companies like McDonald's, it's one thing to stop doing it It's a whole nother thing to make a major press announcement that they're giving up the DEI, didn't earn it policies, and then give a detailed list of what they're not going to be doing anymore. And all of it, they're ending diversity and all these different things. This is the deal. The woke viewpoint, as I said, is a very tiny, tiny minority of people in the world who believe in this lunacy. We all believe in diversity and equality, but you know what the woke and the DEI stuff is. I don't have to tell you. If you're listening to me, you know, I don't have to tell you. And a lot of people, like McDonald's and others, have been held hostage and bullied into doing things that they thought were more popular. And Trump's performance in this election, doing as well as he did, has woken them up that this woke stuff, not many people support it. It's amazing. And you know what they've done? They took it to a whole new level. It used to be in the old days, those of you that remember Jesse Jackson, Jesse Jackson was a racial con man, and he was near Martin Luther King when he was assassinated. And when Martin Luther King was shot, Jesse Jackson, after they took Martin Luther King away in the ambulance, Jesse Jackson went on the balcony, took his shirt off. This is a true story. And soaked his shirt in Martin Luther King's blood on the balcony. And then he flew to New York, and the next day was in studio on the Today Show wearing the shirt covered in Martin Luther King's blood, and said he was next to him when he died and all this stuff. And what he did with that is he formed a shakedown operation that, and he partnered up with Bill Clinton in the 90s. And what he would do is he would go to a company like Coca-Cola, big companies, and say, hey, listen, pay us some money or we're going to picket in front of you and call you racist. And they would pay him. And he made a lot of money, Jesse Jackson, doing that. And there were a couple other people who were in that same line of work. He was the most successful. Al Sharpton did it on a scummier scale and a smaller scale in New York. And there were one or two other people. But what happened during the Obama years with Black Lives Matter and all of that is they turned it into like a corporate level entity. And they got into every aspect of corporate life. And these organizations were getting paid boatloads of money from companies like McDonald's and Disney and many others, much more than Jesse Jackson ever dreamed of. And they intimidated. It all started with the Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin, and all that stuff. And they've been intimidating companies into believing that woke was the way. If they didn't do this, they'd be out of business. They'd alienate their customers. And now they realize that most people don't like this. In fact, being woke is costing them customers. Look at what's going on at Facebook. It's called Meta now, right? Zuckerberg is bringing in a Republican to run it. And he's bringing in, I forgot the guy's name, Dana White, President Trump's friend from the UFC, is getting put on the board. Okay, you even see Facebook. And, you know, yesterday, when President Trump was certified, we talked about it a lot yesterday, but this is the thing. 4 years ago today, President Trump was banned from Facebook, Twitter, every online platform, and the television wouldn't put him on. They had him isolated in the White House. They said he led an insurrection. And here we are 4 years later, he's president of the United States again. And there's a traffic jam of people from all these groups that labeled him an insurrectionist and canceled him 4 years ago to suck up to him at Mar-a-Lago right now. The planes are lined up at the airport. You know, and what happened yesterday with the certification of President Trump's victory is nothing short of a miracle. It is a, you know, it's a miracle. And when I say a miracle, I mean an actual divine miracle, from dodging the speeding bullet that hit him in the ear to what happened yesterday. When you look at what they have put President Trump through in the last 4 years, that pig, Neil Cavuto, that just got canned at Fox News. Remember, it was 4 years ago today that President Trump was speaking, and Cavuto cut him off and said, the President of the United States is about to speak. We're going to cut away because he could incite a riot. Neil Cavuto. I hope he's having fun, unemployed. Okay? I mean, that's where we were 4 years ago, and look where we are today. So it's nothing short of a miracle. It is amazing, and it's a beautiful thing. And it may not seem that way to a lot of people because the media didn't want to present it that way. Because the media has spent 4 years calling him an insurrectionist. I was watching CNN, and they say, well, 40% of Americans believe that he's led an insurrection. Well, that means 60% don't. So who cares what those 40% think, if that's even a true number? Now, I want to remind you guys, Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot, who's the travel agent for all of our Steve Kane, Brian Craig cruises, our Trump Victory cruises coming up in March. We sold out a couple weeks ago, but every once in a while, a cabin or two will open up. And I had him on earlier in the show. There are 3 cabins that have opened up. 2 of them are inside cabins, okay? And one of them is a cabin that has an infinite veranda, which is kind of like a balcony, but it has an obstructed view. So these are more affordable. If you would like to join us on our cruise, these inside cabins and the infinite veranda with the obstructed view, I talked to him about an hour ago. I don't know if they're still available. Call Ian. If you get his voicemail, leave a message with your name and number. He'll call you back. 561-244-5779. Join us on our Trump Victory cruise. You're going to have a great time. I'm looking forward to it. 561-244-5779. All right. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
WSF.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And everyone else, please like the video. All right? I'll see you later. Take care.